We started originally as a hardware company back in, it was late 09. My vapor story, I'll just tell it really quick. I have 4 daughters, and my daughter at the time said to me, Dad, why do you want to die? She was just a kid. She was 7 or 8 years old. She said, how come you want to die? I said, I don't want to die. What makes you think Dad wants to die? And she said, well, you smoke, and smoking kills you. So you must want to die. You know that smoking kills you. And it just killed me that was what I was teaching my kid. So she wrote a little book, like an 8-page book, and it had heartbreaking pictures like, here's what it looks like, me walking down the aisle without my dad. Here's what my dad's lungs look like, just horrible, horrible stuff. So at the end of it, there was a little signature where I had to sign and promise not to smoke. And I signed it, and I lied, and I smoked, and I would, put on a hat and gloves and blow it up and wash my hands and hope nobody would catch me. But I just felt shitty about it. And I was a gadget guy, and I started reading about this technology that was, primarily Chinese technology at the time. None of that stuff had really made it stateside, or it was very rare stateside. When people first saw me vaping, they thought I was using drugs. But I started ordering these gadgets from China, and even the Chinese liquid, you couldn't get liquid stateside at the time, or at least I wasn't initiated into the vapor world enough to know where to get it. So, I started on, really cheap Chinese liquid, really cheap Chinese gear. But the thing that blew me away about it was literally the first time I puffed it. As horrible as it tasted, I knew I was never going to smoke again, and I never did. And for a guy that would leave the house at 3 o'clock in the morning for, a pack of cigarettes, if I had run out, I was a nicotine junkie. I mean, I still am a nicotine addict, but at least, it doesn't come with the tar and the ash and the 5,000 chemicals, 88 known carcinogens. But yeah, I would go out in the middle of the night to get them, and it just blew my mind that this one puff of this crazy device that I had gotten overseas, it was like that. And I tried everything: Wellbutrin, patches, gums, hypnosis, cold turkey, nothing, absolutely nothing worked. I was committed to smoking. But so after that, I said, oh my God, everybody needs to know about this. Everybody needs to know. My grandmother had died due to complications from a few things, one of them being her tobacco addiction. And I just felt like everybody needed to know it. So I started to, buy the devices, give them to friends. And then, it started to spread, and folks asked me, how do I get them? So I just threw up a quick site. I was, I worked in IT and financial services my whole life. So it wasn't really a job. It was just something I was doing to help out some friends. And it turned into a business that I loved.
Good evening. I think I'm finding all these old clips from previous shows, and I look and I go, oh my God, my beard didn't have any gray in it. I'm like, holy crap, I've been doing this a long time. But that clip was from an old show with Steven Sapir. Hello and welcome, everybody. There are people here. Hello, people. I see Andrew is here. Andrew, I didn't mean to fool you, because I think Andrew thought that was live. And Victor is here, and Troop is here, and Tom is here. And look at our chocolate friend, Chris Big Knowledge Garland is here. Mowgli is here. Toasty, I don't know who Toasty Cheese is, but Toasty is here as well. And he's talking, yes, decaying. Some of the decaying tobaccos are still, awesome. I wish I could get them. Addie's here. Mallory's here. There's people here. Hello, people. Even Kevin. Kevin is in the chat room. Kevin is here. And I hope everybody has their basement doors locked and ready to go. Make sure that nobody is swatting us. I don't think that anybody cares about swatting us, little old us. But anyway, I'm glad that it's finally out in the world that all of us are just basement dwelling incels that live in our mom's basements. Brian King has announced to the world he's outed us, but we'll get into that. I live in Texas. There is no basement here. If I were to dig deep, that deep, there would be a lot of water. I live right on the Gulf Coast. Sorry, Dr. King, you are wrong. But Kevin is here. Let me bring Kevin in.
Hello,
there's Kevin.
The basement. I feel like
tweeting,
I'm in the 70s show.
You're tweeting from your mom's. Well, I know, but if you were in your mom's basement in that 70s show, you wouldn't be vaping. You would be in the circle.
If you dug too deep in your yard, you might hit oil. You never know, right?
Or dead bodies.
Hey, did I say fuck you, Brian King yet? Oh, okay.
You just did. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put a post over here.
I hate to say
a little rope on it.
I hate to say, Kevin, I always hate it when I say I told you so. I always feel bad
but you don't like being wrong. So it's kind of a nice balance.
Not to be a dick, and I know that there were a lot of people out there that had some sort of positive feelings after Brian King was at some sort of thing with the vaping people 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. And I was like, even take a week, did it? He's blowing smoke up your ass. This is worthless. I told you, nothing that he says means anything in that little thing, that little meeting that you had. It's just a waste of fucking time. If you think that this is some sort of new thing that you're suddenly trying to do, we've been interfacing with these assholes for a decade, and they've been lying to us to our face the whole fucking time. So
stop.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, Kevin.
Until they leave adults alone, nothing.
Until the government decides, you know what, we're just gonna fucking close the FDA down. It is so disturbingly rotten from the inside, and replace it with something else. It's not going to change. Regulations, and FDA did in the past some very important things. They created food handling laws and things that make sure that we don't get horrible, to keep the food supply safe and clean. Drug, some back in the day, drug approvals, maybe, but nowadays it's whoever has the biggest check gets their shit approved. So, we wouldn't have so many ambulance chasing commercials. Oh, did you take this drug? Oh, well, you may qualify for this class action lawsuit if you grew a third eye in your forehead, or it's bullshit.
Does your third ear have soft stool?
Yeah. So, I'm glad some people felt like they had warm, fuzzy feelings, and that they achieved something by having a face-to-face with that guy. But again, it was a waste of fucking time. He gaslit your asses. He said a few things to make you feel okay, even though in the end what he said was nothing. Because this week he just erased any positive shit that he could have done at SRNT.
You sin and basement dwellers.
Yeah. Well, we're going to we'll cover the Twitter nonsense with Brian King later,
Oh, good that I
later.
Can fuck himself later.
Yeah. So, Kevin, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I had a good day with the grandson. I don't have to go shop until tomorrow, and I get to move a hot tub with my buddy tomorrow. That'll be fun. So
you're going to get in the hot tub with your butt? What?
No, not anymore. He's going to get rid of it. He's selling his house, so he had to tear it apart. So I got to go get it and throw it away.
Oh,
memories are over.
Does it?
Well, it's all.
Does it not work anymore? Oh,
it wasn't working. He hadn't been working in for a few years.
Well, that sucks.
His wife doesn't like him anyway, so they didn't use it.
Hot tub is quite comfortable.
He liked it. Yeah. He was pretty happy with it. But it's all cut up, and I got to go get it with him. We'll
get a couple young ladies in there with you. It's
no, just two cranky old men bitching and crying.
Kevin, did you take notice to the Steven Sapir intro thing that I played? Did you see how we actually looked like like at least 10 years younger?
Oh, I was 10. It wasn't that 10 years ago now? Haven't we been doing this for like 20?
It feels like
you got my resignation. What do you?
100 years. I have not opened that envelope.
I thought I looked dapper.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris, I love you, bro, but Chris says all we got out of the good doctor is him admitting that vaping is safer than combustibles. FDA has said that for since
he didn't even offer anybody any Hershey Kisses.
2015. I mean we already have that admission. That's not new. I mean, they've admitted it. We have them in front of Congress. We have Midzeller in front of Congress on video. I actually have it here. On video admitting that. So that's not new. That's not a feather for our caps. That's more of the same.
Same old undocumented bullshit.
Kevin.
Undocumented.
I don't want to be negative. I want people to have warm fuzzy feelings after watching our show, Kev.
Well, I don't know about all that, but except for Paul, maybe.
Well, the Tic Tac, I don't know.
Chris came in bright and early, though, didn't he?
Here's some more propaganda for you, Kevin. Let's go ahead and just let's get the propaganda going early. Let's see. It says, what does it say? It says experts weigh in on the connections between the opioid crisis and vaping.
Well,
I don't know if I want to read this or if I just want I know that there's going to be a commercial here, but let's see. Let's open this video piece.
Fox 5's Jim Loke.
Yeah, let me mute that. I'm going to mute the commercial so that we don't have to hear the Fox News commercial here. But I don't know here.
Fox 5.
Stay with us, Fox 5.
Well, they got all the breaking
news. Teens overdose fentanyl more than ever before.
Why do I get spinny?
You or me? Are you spinning?
It's a big question. Fox 5 Stephanie Ramirez in downtown Bethesda asking that very thing. Hi, Steph.
Hi, and sources tell me that they believe a more accepting culture of drug use among teenagers is a big problem as we continue to face this opioid fentanyl crisis, especially among our region's high schools. We already know that being able to purchase drugs on social media platforms has been a big problem, but one source said listen to the music, that the drug references are all.
Oh, this is like my parents complaining about the music the music that they listen to makes them commit suicide or makes them into
Satan's
oh dear God, they're attacked. This is like my grandparents' arguments here.
All over songs, and they guided us to take a look. I want you to see this on your screen here. So the source told me to look up perks on lyrics.com to see how many times the opioid Percocet is referenced. The result, over 20,000 hits. We also searched M30, referencing the M30 oxycodone pills. Almost 1,300 hits came up. The problem is that many of the people who think they're buying these pills are actually buying counterfeit or fake synthetic fentanyl pills that kill regular users, experimenting for the very first time. Now, parents facing this crisis in their children's high schools all across the region are waving red flags on the vaping at those high schools. And experts we spoke with, and then the Maryland treatment, say indirectly, I believe the two can be connected.
I think.
Of course.
What? So
of course it can.
If you like birthday cake e-liquid, you could be also a fentanyl addict.
Well, certainly.
Híjole.
I think we do have to be concerned with the prevalence and ease of all these products that are out there for our young people who do tend to experiment and are developmentally a little more prone to take risks. I think that they've gotten a message that it's less dangerous and less problematic than cigarettes, and that it's pretty prevalent.
Well, okay, so Chris just said in the chat room that the FDA apparently made a new announcement that vaping is safer than combustible cigarettes. So apparently they've got that message. That's what the lady said, is that the kids are getting this message that vaping is safer than smoking. So okay, we've known that. The FDA's known that, but it's finally getting into their nicotine damaged brains, Kevin.
That's right.
Yep,
that's right.
Among the schools, it's easy to do. They can go through them. They're vaping at school.
Now, another expert with this same group, the Maryland Treatment Centers, says also that it's a minority of teens who can get hooked on pre-opioid substances, nicotine, cannabis, and
pre-opioid substances. So now they said nicotine, cannabis,
alcohol, but it's those kids that they are most concerned about who may decide to take that risk and turn to.
All right, we got to go back here.
Opioid substances, nicotine, cannabis, and alcohol, but it's those kids that they are most concerned about who may decide to take that risk and turn to pills, and you don't know if that can be your child. Experts also tell me they agree.
Kevin,
what?
Before you became a wretched heroin addict, and were selling your body on the streets for your heroin, were you using nicotine, cannabis, or alcohol? Those are all pre-opioid. It's like pre-diabetes, or what did they say? Pre-symptomatic. That was the word that the Surgeon General Jerome created on his own prior or during the pandemic, is that everybody is pre-symptomatic.
Well, sure. When they're losing a battle, in my opinion, they've been losing the battle for 2 years as far as their literal science goes. Now they did it before, they sprinkled in other things before. Now they're just blatantly adding all the other hot buttons for a parent to go, oh my God, my child's doing heroin, because they don't have anything else.
So it's Kool-Aid pre-Winesies. Tom is in the chat room and he says pre-Winesies. So I'm wondering if fruit juice or fruit cocktails or fruity drinks that kids, is that like a pre-wine beverage? Is that a precursor to people growing up and drinking wine?
Agree with the Loudoun County mother who told us yesterday, no, is not the solution. Now, they say it is a very important life-saving drug that they believe everyone needs to know. Also say that a large focus needs to be on treatment, getting your child professional help as soon as you notice a substance abuse. They feel also that there are cases where children may be more willing to talk with an expert than they are to talk with their own parents. And they also say that parents need to stop thinking it can't happen to your kid. Guys, back.
Well, this goes all into the fact that as a parent, it's your job. You should be paying attention to your child and speaking with them. Kevin, remember? Speak with your children, not at your children.
What? Exactly, Victor.
So they liked that article so much, Kevin. They liked that article so much. The same news site did retweet or republished it twice.
Wow. It's all in the
How
word.
the opioid crisis is impacting vaping in schools. So they renamed the title of the thing, but I guarantee you that when I unmute this, it's going to be the same exact piece.
Overdosing on fentanyl now more than ever before. And why that's happening?
It's not. It's new.
Ramirez in downtown Bethesda asking that very thing.
It's the same. It's the same.
Hi, and sources tell me that they believe a more accepting culture of drugs.
That's it. That is the same. So yes, they loved this video piece so much that they published it twice.
It's Patrick. It's all in the wording
with two different headlines.
I can't tell you how many times I've caught Logan vaping and asking about heroin. He won't stop.
He's over there cooking his shit up with a spoon and
I just gave him a lighter and said, "Don't hurt yourself." That's because
But hey, so those first two video pieces, which was the same video piece, were from DC.
Yeah.
So this next piece, this is I'm gonna pre-rub it a little bit there, Kev, for you. I'm getting the fluffer in here. All right. So yeah, this one is from WHIZ, The Wiz.
Zanesville. Is that Ohio?
Yeah.
Is it?
So this says ZCS, I guess that's school system, says fentanyl may be circulating in vape pens. So we covered this ad nauseum multiple times, but last week we did a very big piece that explained how this myth was created. I invite you to look at the show notes and go read that again if you want to. It's very long.
Up to and including policemen.
Very well written and well thought out explanation of how this urban legend was created. So Zanesville City Schools have sent a letter to parents of high school students and all staff concerning vape pens contaminated with fentanyl. District Superintendent Doug Baker said that they have reason to believe that vape pens contaminated with fentanyl are circulating among the student body. Fentanyl is a more powerful opioid, or a powerful opioid. I added the word more because I wanted to make it scarier, and is among the most common causes of overdose deaths, Kevin.
No.
In the letter, the superintendent shares the signs of fentanyl overdose, which includes constricted pinpoint pupils. Marijuana does that. Loss of consciousness. Alcohol does that. Slow, weak, or no breathing. Well, no breathing is a very, very concerning thing. Choking or gurgling sound. That could be because they're, into autoerotic asphyxiation. A limp body. Well, it could be because they were a victim of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Or just
cold or clammy skin. That could be because it's cold in the house and the air conditioner's on and they just came in from outside. Discolored skin, especially lips and nails. Well, I mean, these kids these days, they use some weird cosmetics. But Dr. Baker said that if parents and children are in need of additional support regarding or addressing drug use, they are encouraged to call Muskegum Behavioral Health or Allwell Behavioral Health Services. If you have concerns about your child or school, contact the building administration, guidance counselor, or school nurse. Dr. Baker said that vape pens are prohibited on school grounds, and those in violation of the policy are subject to disciplinary consequences, including expulsion. So here is another regurgitation of an urban legend, myth, bullshit that has no scientific basis, that has no actual evidence that it has ever occurred, because it's just that they're afraid of these two things, and originally they were reported in the same article and people conflated the two, and now it's everywhere. But anybody with
that works.
Basic science would understand that this can't be done. I mean, even Tom in the chat room.
Even Tom,
he's like an Australian guy. He knows the difference.
I appreciate, just before we go on, how much we can actually show how incompetent these people are. I do appreciate that.
Well, we do have a body of work that is ever expanding. And over the years, we have covered all of these topics more than once. With
scientists, researchers, very smart people.
Even without that, even with just the articles, the reading of the scientific literature that we've shared without the expertise of all of our great friends that have come on the show, like we, two knuckleheads, are able to debunk all of this nonsense.
Well,
it's
an old cab driver,
I'm just, it worries me that the level of stupidity is. So I have to ask, because Tom is in the chat room. Bastard hasn't showed up yet, but there may or may not be at least one or two Aussies in the chat room right now. I did see, and we're not covering it, but apparently the premier of Australia is the premier. Is he like the president? Is that the? Because I know that the Russians used to have a premier.
Mm-hmm.
Was their head of state? Is the premier the correct term for the head of state in Australia? Because I saw a bunch of tweets with articles that showed the premier of Australia admitting that he enjoys a vape now and again.
What?
I did see that. And I didn't feel like it was necessary to cover it because it was just they're attacking a dude that's an adult grown up man. I'm just gonna, because my normal average Friday afternoon Google that helps me add on last minute stuff to all of the articles that we've shared with each other during the week. I did that, and that was a fairly big hit. So there was quite a lot of articles. So I'm just going to show this on screen, my Google search. So just today, 13 hours, 19 hours, 23 hours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 articles about the premier of Australia or New South Wales. So he's not the president of the entire country, but he is the head of, I guess, New South Wales. He admits to having the occasional vape, and how vaping helped him move away from traditional cigarettes. So I asked my New South Wales people, if your fucking head of state admits that vaping helped him quit smoking, how is vaping so fucked in your country? I have to ask. I don't know. Did you see that Victor's here? Because we're gonna use the Victor share screen.
I see Victor.
Why are you?
We're going to use Victor share screen. I was trying to put this in the chat. I wanted to.
What? Are you trying to share a YouTube channel, Kevin? Because I tried to open your thing and it was showing the YouTube channel. Because
I was on the wrong screen.
Video is a bitch. Yeah, you were on the wrong screen because video is a bitch, man.
No. I had our YouTube, your YouTube, the YouTube. Anyway, I was going to put this in their chat. So Dr. Mendelsohn, as you guys can see, had an announcement today. It's with great pride that he accepts his new title awarded by Simon Chapman recently. Simon Chapman, serial vaping promoter and politician pesterer. Is that even a word? The spirit of the Energizer Bunny lives on. That S just bothers the crap out of me. So Chapman, he said, this seems sad. Serial vaping promoter and politician pesterer. gets a kindly piss off reply and actually retweets it. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
I love Dr. Mendelsohn. Screen was appropriate for looking at the monkey there.
Yeah, no, Colin is an awesome guy. We like Colin. And you know, since I know I am actually blocked from Dr. Chapman, so you know my life is so much better.
Years.
But I bet you $10. I should double check. What is that? Quit Vic? Let's see if I am.
Oh, Quit Vic.
I am currently still not blocked by Quit Vic.
That's because you suck.
I don't know why.
Go.
Now,
I put that in the chat. Congratulate the good doctor.
So the other story that I am not covering at all, I will mention it just in passing, is that there's video of some Australian mother making her baby vape. I'm not doing that. I'm not covering that. That's clickbait, and I'm not doing it. It's just it's not happening. So just if you see shit like that, refrain from sharing that shit. Don't draw any attention to it. They're going to use that against us, and we might as well just ignore, because bad people are everywhere. And there are bad vapors. It's not, not all people that vape are good people, and
no,
we're just not doing it.
No.
So here, what are you crumbling paper on the microphone?
Peanuts. It's like dinner and a show.
Stop it. You got
it's Friday. I have to clean my desk. What?
Did I what? Do you have nuts in your mouth right now? Is that what? So last night we had this, like, the most violent windstorm that we've had in a long time, and the wind was just whipping so strong last night. Our power was flickering on and off for like 2 hours. It was like a fucking disco in here.
Yep.
Like it wasn't like off for like 2 seconds and then on. Like it was off for like half a second and then on. And every piece of electronic crap in this house has some sort of bell or chime when it comes back on. So after about 20 minutes of this, like I'm walking around the house, unplugging every electronic thing in the house. Because I was like, fuck this, I'm going to bed. Like every Amazon device, every computer, the fucking washer and dryer in the house, they sing like they make sounds.
Yes, drunk there.
And I'm just like, fuck this. And stupid me, I forgot to use my phone as my alarm clock because the phone was charged.
Wait, stupid me. I like that. Go ahead.
I have an Amazon device beside my bed that is what wakes me up, and it's set on a schedule. Well, I forgot that I unplugged the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So when the power did come back on, the Wi-Fi wasn't on, so the Alexa devices did not update. And I sat bolt upright. The sun was out. I'm like, fuck, I'm late because my alarm clock didn't go off. I'm running around. I look at my phone. It is the exact time that I normally wake up. Like, I woke up without my alarm clock at the right proper time.
Yeah, but did you vape right away or did you wait?
I brushed my teeth and I did all my normal morning things. I didn't touch my vape until I got in the car to go to work.
Damn. See. Anecdotal information I had in my head. That's all.
Well, I'm not a high school kid because apparently that's the high school kids that, you know.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones, as an adult, apparently my brain is now mature enough that I can withstand the urge to, you know, the horrible addictive substance. Apparently, you know, it's a brain. They say it causes brain damages, Kevin. But anyway, this says e-cigarettes and cardiovascular health, the risks of vaping from Cardiology Advisor.
Wow. Is this another rehash glance?
No, this is a whole new asshole. This is Matthew L. Springer, PhD, Sandhya Venugopal, and Kinjan Parikh. They discuss the effect of e-cigarettes on cardiovascular health. It says here, in the 15 years since e-cigarettes became commercially available, there has been ongoing debate about the health risks of using these devices, as well as the potential utility of e-cigarettes in smoking cessation efforts. Among the various health effects of e-cigarette use, i.e. vaping, researchers continue to explore the cardiovascular impact of vaping with somewhat mixed results, Kevin.
Is it
following two?
Can you imagine?
I can imagine lots of things. Following two large cross-sectional studies showing no significant association between exclusive e-cigarette use and CV disease or CV cardiovascular disease risk, the authors of recent research aimed to further elucidate the potential effects of these products on heart health. So they're saying they did two cross-sectional studies and they showed no significant association between exclusive e-cigarette use and cardiovascular disease risk. But now they got to further elucidate.
Here it comes. Here's the punchline.
So in a 2022 study founded in part by the NIH, Berlowitz et al. Conducted a longitudinal analysis on self-reported data from roughly 24,000 adult participants, 50% of whom were younger than 35 years. In the National PATH, which is the Population Assessment of Tobacco and Health study, to examine the link between e-cigarette use and incident cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
After adjusting for covariates, including demographic factors, comorbidity, and smoking history, analysis showed no difference in cardiovascular disease risk between e-cigarette users and non-users of combustible cigarettes or e-cigarettes. Should I repeat that, Kevin? After adjusting for covariates, including demographic factors, comorbidities, and smoking history, analyses showed no difference in cardiovascular disease risk between exclusive e-cigarette users and non-users of combustible cigarettes or e-cigarettes. So they're saying, oh my God, these guys are actually saying intelligent things like, there's no difference in the risk of cardiovascular disease between people that vape and people that don't vape.
Well, then why do they have to go on?
In addition, Kevin, the results revealed a 30 to 40% lower risk for the outcome of any cardiovascular disease in association with e-cigarette users compared to combustible cigarette users. So they're saying that people that vape have a 30 to 40% lower risk of cardiovascular disease than people that smoke. Holy shit. Oh my God. Even though the use of e-cigarettes, even though the use of e-cigarettes may have decreased in the last few years, that's true. the use of cigarettes has decreased in the last. Nicotine addiction has continued secondary to e-cigarettes on the market. Well, I would still rather have people addicted to a harmless substance that makes them feel good, that is relatively harmless.
You mean like coffee, right?
Yes.
Because coffee.
Now, among individuals who identified as dual users of both e-cigarettes and combustible cigarettes, no difference in risk was observed for any cardiovascular disease or for myocardial infarction, heart failure, or stroke. So they're saying is you need to be an exclusive vapor and you get all the benefits. But if you smoke and vape, you're still putting poison in your body, which is absolutely true. However, dual users demonstrated a significantly higher cardiovascular disease risk compared to non-users. Duh.
Oh my God, really? It's like, no way. That's what Logan says that, Chris. No way. And he says, yes way. I say no way. He says no way.
So it says here, the authors noted several limitations to their study, such as the use of self-reported data and the short follow-up period, which may be inadequate to capture the development of cardiovascular disease. Meanwhile, the results suggest that using e-cigarettes while attempting to taper use of combustible cigarettes does not reduce cardiovascular disease compared to exclusive use. Duh. But if you're reducing the use of the bad thing while trying to replace it with this other thing that's significantly better, eventually you're going to taper completely off, and then you get all the benefits of being an exclusive user.
Or you'll continue smoking and say vaping sucks and it didn't work.
Well, yes, but hopefully.
So, but before we move on, just for future generations listening to this, because it's going to be here forever. If you're going to dual use, I encourage that completely. I know everybody in the audience knows better, but if you're going to smoke and vape, do that. If you're going to understand that you prefer to smoke, do that. And if you think, well, geez, this is better and it tastes good and I enjoy it, then go do that.
Well, okay, so there's been a guy that comes in. He's been in the chat room 2 or 3 times. He's from the comic book. He's one of the comic book guys. Yeah. Aldous. Yeah. His name is Aldous.
Yeah.
Like he's a smoker. Like, and he told me, I smoke and I like smoking. And I said, that's fine, But he's been in the show a couple times. And like a couple weeks ago, he hit me up on Twitter and he said, I need to talk to you about this vaping thing. So, if the door is open,
right,
and you allow people to come at their own speed, at their own time, I was looking through clips of old stuff, and I said to Kevin right before we went live, hey, I just tweeted an old clip of me with a little fire in my belly, go out and retweet it. And it's this tweet right
and
here.
Did. Dutifully, I did.
You did. But the whole point of this video is it's talking about quit or die and meeting people where they are. Essentially what this is. So I invite each and every one of you to go to Twitter and retweet the fuck out of this, because I tagged a bunch of assholes in here, and I want them to open their computer tomorrow and see this 2.5 minute video, or 2 minutes and 5 second video of me with a little bit of fire in my belly talking about harm reduction.
Lovely Dr. Maria Glover. Now, yes. I'm sad that you didn't tag her in that, and I'm sad that I didn't think to. But if you're going to tell me 10 years ago, before I stopped, you need to stop smoking, you need to kiss my ass, was my normal response.
Yeah.
And I still consider myself a smoker or a person who smokes now, that my sons both smoke. The oldest has tried vaping. He doesn't want nothing to do with it. And you know how now,
but he's a rebellious young man. He likes smoking the herb too, though. So
one of them does both of those, and then the other one he has nothing to do with it. He did try it though. He tried it. I forget which, a Nord, I think is what it's called. I bought him one. It was at the time it was like $90. And I thought, well, at least I'll get it if he doesn't succeed, which I did, and I'm okay with it. I'm not fond of it, but it's a nice backup. Or to give someone else that I haven't had an opportunity in some time now to do that. But I don't care where someone is in their journey of trying to quit. If someone like your friend says, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this," that's the moment, especially because it's you, that I trust you to educate him, and he would get a full earful of information, not degradation, I guess is the best word to use.
That is the exact word.
You're not going to do this. Don't fucking do this to those people. Go sit and vape with them in the smoking area.
Don't shame them. Yeah.
And breathe that smoke. You breathed it for however the fuck long. I smoked for 35 years. I was in it for all my life with my father. Who cares?
Oh.
It's okay. What?
Oh, there.
Is Glance coming in?
No. But it is glancing.
Brian here? Is Brian in the room?
After we finish this, I'll go to that tweet. It's not included in the show notes, but it is. You brought it up secondhand. You brought up secondhand. So anyway.
What?
Anyway, the authors noted several. Oh, I read that. Meanwhile, their results suggest that using e-cigarettes while attempting to. Oh, I did that too. On a related note, the authors of a study published in August of 2022 in the BMC Medicine conducted a single center 3-arm randomized control. That's the gold standard, right? Randomized controlled trial to investigate cardiovascular effects in 248 individuals attempting to quit smoking with the aid of e-cigarettes or with prescription NRT. The participants were assigned to one of 3 groups consisting of the following intervention along with behavioral support: e-cigarettes containing nicotine, which was 18 milligram per milliliter, e-cigarettes with no nicotine, and NRT. So there were 3: the 18 milligram, the 0 milligram, and the NRT. Compared with baseline measures, all 3 groups demonstrated improvements in flow mediated dilation at 3 months. That's they're talking about heart function there. And at 6 months, and with no significant difference between the groups. Improvements in the secondary outcomes of mean arterial pressure and peak cutaneous vascular conductance responses to acetylcholine and sodium nitro, I can never say this word, prucide, were also noted after 3 and 6 months. No significant. So what they're saying is the nicotine, because they did nicotine, no nicotine, and NRT, there was no difference in the cardiac function.
0.
So, we always say that nicotine is a mild stimulant, and it could potentially affect cardiac function, could increase your heart rate. What they're saying is that it did not in this controlled trial. All approaches were associated with positive cardiovascular effects, and none of the interventions were associated with superior comparative cardiovascular outcomes. And this is funny. This is Matthew L. Springer, PhD, professor of medicine in the Division of Cardiology at the University of California, San Francisco School of Medicine, and researcher at the UCSF Cardiovascular Research Institute. This is a Glance dude, and he just totally pissed all over. He just pissed all over Dr. Glance's lies.
I do remember this one,
Interesting.
So, kids, while you're in your basement and you're looking at your porn, every time you say the word nicotine, you should also refer to caffeine immediately. Immediately. This is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick, because I know you love to do so. This is probably the most consumed drug in the whole world. Do you agree, or is it close? What's more?
I would
Aspirin?
Imagine that it's pretty
Aspirin?
fucking high up there as
Caffeine.
as something that is actually defined as a drug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sugar.
Sugar is not a drug. I would say as a substance, sugar is probably more is more used. But as something that is defined as a drug, I would say yes, caffeine would be number one. But yeah, sugar is definitely.
I'm stamped that, folks. I was right. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming so.
I'm answering it to the best of my knowledge on that topic. I would say yes. And Mallory would probably be correct when she included sugar.
Oh yeah,
that's not a drug.
I'm using both.
That is not defined as a drug.
There's a lot of Karens at the start.
You put sugar in your coffee?
I do, and a little cream.
Are you wearing a fucking dress?
No, but my tramp stamp needs touching up. Your name's kind of blurred on one side now.
Yeah, you and your girly coffee.
Oh my God. Are you trying to say that I'm doing something wrong the way I like it? What?
Yes.
Oh, I'm botting.
I actually opened the wrong window. I need to actually close that window so that it doesn't do that again. Because it was playing video. And if you have too many video planes running, I reset my box because of the power, but we're having some signal difficulties today. We did have the biggest windstorm in Texas history last night. So yeah.
Chocolate and caramel. Oh. See, I can't do
black and blacker spoon stand. Yes, that is exactly correct. The spoon should stand up or melt in the coffee.
Oh, I like it strong. I just like a little sugar.
So, is Chris still here?
Chocolate may be also another substance which does have caffeine and nicotine.
Well, it does have caffeine in it, so yeah. It is definitely.
And
so the BBC, Kevin, the BBC, the British broadcast, I don't know. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but BBC could be.
I just said C word.
No, I was.
You get my message, by the way, from the cranky old broad.
Did you send something from the cranky old broad?
Well, I sent it from where I found it was from the cranky old broad.
Oh well, I haven't opened that yet. It's still that I haven't been into the Facebooks.
That's fine.
The Facebook
BBC, yet. The BBC,
the big black. Oh no, I was never mind. I've been watching too many porn videos, Kevin. BBC means something else.
Okay.
Teenage vape survey findings are a major worry.
Charity.
And see, we're scaring Victor away with our bad language. This is, of course, from the BBC. I want to make sure that everybody gets credit for this because, it says here, campaigners are calling for the Scottish government to act after a survey found 1 in 10 school pupils in S4 now regularly vape. I don't know what S4 is. That must be like seniors or something. Where's my Scottish?
S4.
We need our Scottish input here. Anti-smoking. We have a Scottish friend actually. He hasn't been on. He's been gone for a long time though.
You scared him away.
Well, he had a show for a long time, and then he said bad words. He got banished. Got banished. Anyway, campaigner. Oh, I already read that. Anti-smoking charity Ash Scotland said it was a major worry. that e-cigarette use by 15-year-olds had tripled in the last 5 years. The Scottish Government Health and Wellbeing Census polled 25,380 pupils in S2 and S4. It said the findings would be used to inform its updated tobacco action plan. The data found that 10.1% of S4 students aged 15 years old and 4.3% of S2 students around 13 years old reported using e-cigarettes once a week or more. Isn't it legal for them to buy them, though? I mean, I think it's 18 in the UK, right? Yeah.
I think
so. They're already breaking the law. It also suggested that young people living in the most deprived areas of Scotland are more likely to regularly vape, 7.8%, than those in the most affluent areas, 4.6%. So those poor fucking kids, they're probably, worried about all sorts of stresses. They probably are food insecure. They probably have all sorts of pressure in their lives. Maybe single parent home, abusive homes. Yeah, they're going to be more stressed out and seek out the comfort of the wonderful nicotine to address that stress. Ash Scotland, which works to reduce harm caused by tobacco, urged ministers to do more to protect children's health. Well, that's great. We want to help the kids, but first you have to address all of the things that are causing them to be at risk, right?
You'd think.
Sheila Duffy, they need better parents. I don't know. Sheila Duffy, Ash Scotland's chief executive, said children using e-cigarettes is a major worry as most vaping products include nicotine, which is highly addictive, and toxic e-liquids, Kevin, that have not been safety tested for inhalation. That's not true. They actually have the EU. They have TPD. They have rules and regulations required. Those products have to be tested before they can be sold. That's not true at all. How do I live in Texas, Kevin? How do I know more about European tobacco laws than the people in Europe do?
I wrote a blog about it in 2016. I compared USA at that time to the TPD. So I bet I know almost as much as you. Maybe not quite.
I wouldn't mind having a good single malt right now either, Kevin.
Caffeine is toxic. Coffee is toxic.
Toxic.
Water is toxic.
Toxic that have not been safety tested for inhalation and could risk damage to their growing lungs over time. Promoting novel tobacco products or novel products such as recreational e-cigarettes is one way in which the tobacco industry is reaching out to future generations of potential consumers. Do they not know that the largest e-cigarette company in the world is a Chinese tech company? It is not a tobacco company.
No.
Seriously?
I bet they don't.
They probably don't.
What do I know? I'm in my mother's basement. I don't know.
Those little Chinese guys in those factories are all working for tobacco companies, Kevin. It is an issue that needs to be tackled by the Scottish government as a matter of urgency. Remember, it was the Irish health minister or ex-health minister that said that e-cigarettes were the revenge of the tobacco companies last week. Yeah, I was an Irish guy. That's anyway, the charity said that regular e-cigarette use by 13-year-olds had more than doubled in the last 5 years. Well, that's frightening.
So work of tobacco control has dropped in the past 5 years. Wow, incompetence is high.
I have to interrupt. I'm gonna address Mallory right now.
Oh, so boy.
Mallory says they can't tell open systems from closed systems.
No, they can't tell anything. Good.
Duh.
Well, she's had too much sugar today. Leave her be.
Not only, but here's the thing. They don't care about open systems because open systems is a mere fraction of a percentage
It's an
of
annoyance
the entire industry now. The
They
open
can't tell a
system
USB.
talking point. The open system talking point is worthless now because it is the tiniest of fractions of 1% of the total market now.
That's right, Tom. Get the nab his balls. Get him.
Closed systems are 99.9% of the industry now. I mean, the vast majority, and that's the way they wanted it. I mean, if you go back and listen to the old show, Vaping Militia Radio, the podcast does still exist out there in the world. We warned of this in 2015.
Yep, they did.
I've been warning people about this for the moment that closed systems were addressed in the deeming back in 2014. The deeming language is specifically tailored for closed systems. That is what they want to regulate. That is the product that they want to regulate. And the industry, I'm going to take this off screen for a second, Kevin, because I want people to look me in the eye. The industry, whether that is the Chinese manufacturers or whether that's the vape shops that initially started selling these disposables in these closed systems, and it was not initially convenience stores that sold them. It was the fucking vape shops that sold them. They got their foot in the door in the United States
in a bucket,
in vape shops,
in a bucket at the front.
We warned them then, if you sell this shit, that's what they're going to get. They're going to use that against us. Juul is going to go down. Juul did the same thing, though. Juul got their foot in the door in the U.S. market by marketing to vape shops. And then when they got enough money, because their supply chains sucked when they first started, they couldn't meet the demand of the vape shops, let alone the C stores. They were 7 months behind manufacturing at the beginning in 2015, 2016, when they first hit the market. And then once they got their supply chains fixed, they fucking blew the fucking vape shops out. They said, sorry, dude, we can't sell to you anymore. We're going to convenience stores.
Well,
but we, as an industry, this industry, I shouldn't say we, because I don't own a vape shop. I don't own an e-liquid company. I don't have a hardware endorsement. I always say we, though, because I feel like I'm part of the industry because I've been here for 12 years now. We fucking warned them. They never listened
most of the time.
And look, Mowgli said tags up. Look, see, Mowgli, there's the tags right there. I still got them.
I need something to hang.
I'm
considering Brian King. What? I know.
You want to hang Brian King in your basement?
Well, I was thinking if these rafters can hold up well enough that I could invite him over. And maybe
you could actually, if you chain him to the hot water heater back there,
and just feed him once a day.
Yeah, you could.
I'll give him.
And it's close enough. It's close enough to the washing machine that he could do your laundry too.
Well, he could do my laundry. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Did I say fuck him? Yeah.
So yeah, the youth vaping epidemic, which was purely an American talking point.
Premeditated bullshit story.
But I'm just saying, I have to apologize to all of our friends all over the world because our nonsense has now been exported and you have now imported all of our bullshit into your countries because there was never a youth vaping epidemic in the UK, in Australia, and all these places until the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, in the last 3 months, the youth vaping epidemic
magically
has now been there. Yeah. So, Tom, you cannot advocate violence like that in the chat room. You're gonna get my channel stricken. We're gonna lose our. We're gonna have to go to like Locals or one of the other streaming sites because YouTube is going to cancel me because you're in the chat room talking about slitting people's throats.
I wouldn't want to take away his right to speak.
I have to rebuke. I rebuke you. I erase.
I'm not saying I'm not going to let anybody else down in the basement to visit, though, but I'll let him speak.
Híjole. Our people are crazy, man.
Brian, honestly, if you're listening, fuck off. And you can come on the show anytime and defend yourself if you like. I don't care.
No, he would never lower himself to
more than welcome
to hang out with critics
that
live in their mother's basements. Speaking of Brian King, we have finally reached that part of the show.
Oh, look at that.
So this week at SRNT 23, FDA Tobacco, Brian King, he's talking about the priorities, the CTP director's priorities.
Yeah.
I see. Am I able to zoom in and see what the priorities are on this thing? Let's see. Sound science, Kevin. Stakeholder engagement, communication, and health equity.
Equality? Really?
Equity. No, equity, not equality. Equity does not mean the same thing as equality, even though people may try to use that, and that's not the same thing.
Just
do
yourself a favor and roll down the comments and pick the ones you like, just for the fun of this, because I don't think everybody in the room's seen this, and if they have, then it'll be fun.
Well, I mean, I had to make it bigger just so that I could read it myself.
I know.
So he is over here in Benjamin Toll, who is a PhD. He is a professor of public health at I don't know what this is. MUSC. Let's see what MUSC is. MUSC. It doesn't really. This is like a.
It doesn't look very promising.
No music. He's. Yeah.
Oh
I don't
well.
know what that is.
It must be a bad tag.
I don't know, but anyway, that's in his fucking. What is this?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
National Cancer Institute University. Must be the University of South Carolina. So he must have mistagged it somehow.
Via NCI.
And Mallory, I wasn't yelling at you, dear. I promise. But yeah, I've seen a bunch of people tweeting about open and closed systems this week, and it's nonsense. It's absolutely. They're pushing for the disposable business model because that's what they can regulate quite easily.
Well, they said it
anyway.
in their release.
Yes. It's easy to criticize from a Twitter handle in your mother's basement. That is a line by the FDA CTP director, Brian King.
Well, wait,
so he is saying that everybody that criticizes FDA is some sort of basement dwelling incel. I mean, that is what I mean, and it's Patrick. Sad. But this is how. What? Go.
Unless I'm jumping ahead of your thought train, this is in his opening priorities statement. So his priorities are concerns about being criticized on Twitter for fucking up all the time. That's his priority statement. That's part of it. I can't wait to see a video if there is one, because I want to see what.
I don't know that it has anything to do with his priority statement. What I think is he's basically deviating attention away from the criticisms based on the Reagan-Udall findings and the massive amount of Twitter people that are criticizing FDA. He's trying to, because again, I don't have video because they're not going to let us see they're not going to let us see it. I don't know where that line comes from in the speech.
Right.
But it seems to me, the only context that I could just put that into is him is him making excuses, and instead of addressing the criticism, you criticize your critic.
Right. Exactly.
So,
what a sad world.
You know,
what a sad little world.
So, you know, I had to retweet, I had to quote tweet, you know, and ask, does FDA's Brian King think that science shared or tweeted from a basement becomes less valuable? Is, you know, calling your critics basement trolls does not invalidate their criticism. It just shows that you can't defend yourself with knowledge and facts.
Mm-hmm.
So, you
very
know,
poignant.
And this has nothing to do. He's attacking the critic instead of attacking the criticism.
Yeah. He can't defend it.
Yeah.
No defense. Listen, I'm glad he's reading our tweets, or I'm glad he's aware of our tweets, because the poor fucker that's got the task of tweeting the FDA thing must read through these and go, Jesus Christ, we're stupid.
So, you know, I mean, it's one thing to, you know, I can, if somebody criticizes me, I'm going to reply by addressing their criticism.
Sure.
I'm not going to, I mean, unless it's you, then I'll attack you. But, you know.
Well, yeah, of course. I allow that.
But, you know, it's ridiculous that this guy is supposed to be the head of a government agency. And instead of saying, well, you know, I see your criticisms. I see some of them might be valid.
We have issues.
You know, we're going to fix that. No. Well, it's easy to criticize, you know, from a Twitter handle, you know, living in your mother's basement.
I can't imagine side by side how much brain power you and I have over 2,500 of those idiots. So, yeah,
it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment of riches, though. Is the thing is, this guy has everything he needs to do his job. Everything he needs. All they do and all they have done for the last 12 years is drag their feet and make excuses and not be. So here's the thing. They claim they cannot change the regulatory structure of vaping because it would require an act of Congress. Right. Yet they say we haven't acted because we are using our enforcement discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they have if they statutorily, if they have discretion on who to enforce against, they would probably already have discretion to regulate as they see fit.
The way I see this, in my opinion, is your children go on their own. They're 14, they're 15. They have to make their own decisions. And then you have to base that decision they've made, good or bad, and go, you know, that wasn't such a good idea. In a government setting, you'd think there's pretty much power to do anything you want to within reason, not the law, within general reason, to go, yeah, if we don't start doing this, you know, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. They prefer to shoot themselves in the foot, and they have no balls.
So I don't know if you know this or not. So regulations are codified using CFR numbers. The CFR numbers are not created by Congress. The language in the CFRs are not codified or regulated or controlled by Congress. They are actually created and authored by the regulator.
Correct. I do know that.
Okay. So if they're creating the code, then they could create the CFR code that says these are the standards to which e-liquids must be manufactured. These are the standards to which nicotine, the active ingredient, must be purified to this level. They could, in a sense, create regulatory or manufacturing standards for the e-liquid industry and require labs that create e-liquid to follow a certain manufacturing principle and level, and that would be it. They have the authority to do that.
And then Congress could what approve of it or whatever they got to do.
Congress doesn't approve of any other CFRs.
Okay, then they don't even need that.
No.
Then fuck them. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
you every day.
They
Patrick,
don't. They're not required. They're not required to submit their regulations. They have been granted authority by the FDA to regulate.
So
FDA or
Congress.
They have been granted authority by Congress to regulate. Excuse me.
Right.
They don't have to submit those regulations for approval.
Right. Do you ever,
as long
have
as
to
they
call your boss?
submit their budget and their budget gets approved, that's it.
Have you ever had to call your boss for a life-threatening moment, treatment, suggestion? Hey, listen, I got this guy this prescription because, or do you do it and then you may tell them later or not? I don't know how that works.
So each division or each occupation within healthcare have their own practice act, which is essentially these are the rules for which you have to practice. So there are certain things as a physical therapist that I can do. For example, not to digress too far into this, but wound care. The specialty of wound care was created for and by physical therapists. So I have gone to classes, extensive classes, and I have 5 years of clinical experience performing wound care.
Right.
Then I take a test and I get the credential that goes after my PT credential that says that I am a certified wound care specialist. So there are certain things, though, that I can do that the boss cannot do, because she's a nurse.
Right.
So I don't ever have to refer to her for those things.
Right. Or defer. You have to make a decision that's best for the patient at the time.
Yes.
You don't have to wait, and you know your limits, but you don't have to wait.
The doctor will write orders for physical therapy to perform wound care, to evaluate and treat as needed, and we perform a general plan of care for the patient that will include modalities as needed, such as debridement. So I am the only one that can actually take a scalpel to a wound to remove necrotic tissue from a wound, for example. The nurse cannot do that under any circumstance.
Right.
Unless now, a physical therapist right out of school doesn't even need the wound care certification to do that. It's built right into our practice act. It's built right into our plan of care. When we go to school, they teach us how to do that. Nurses, for example, cannot do that under any circumstances unless they go the 5-year plan, get their certified wound care specialty, and they still cannot use a scalpel. They have to use scissors.
So,
not to, like I said, you went off into the weeds.
In a nutshell, I don't know if he's a doctor.
I have autonomy of practice is basically what you're asking.
Right. King should have the same exact thing in his position to say, wait a minute, you people need to start doing this or stop doing that, whichever way you look at it.
Right.
And let's move this on because this is the right thing to do. I'm making that decision. I'll take the ass chewing from Caliph and Durbin and who the fuck ever. But no, Dr. King or whatever his title is has no balls. So Tic Tac has large.
I mean,
what?
This was started during Zeller. I mean, Zeller is the one that initially didn't have any balls. I mean,
I'm looking for heroes. That's all.
yeah, I mean, and he used the excuse, well, I don't have the authority. You have the authority. It's just that you
Under
don't
law.
want to be the guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the hero or the zero in that case. Like, he doesn't want to put his neck out on the line to get chopped.
Yeah.
And Azar, who is the head of, Gottlieb, Azar. What's the guy's name now? Not Brian King. Who's Brian King's boss?
Caliph,
yeah. None of those guys wanted to be brave. None of those guys wanted to stick their neck out. None of those guys wanted to say, you know what? I already have the authority. I don't need to ask your permission. This is my job. If you don't like it, you can replace me. But that's what they need, is they need somebody to finally get out there and say, you know what? Here's the fucking science. I'm tired of all this BS.
Yep.
We know it. You know it. You just don't want to admit it.
And that, my friends, is what Joe Gitchell, who I do like. Don't get me wrong about Joe. I like Joe. Joe's given me a lot of good points to think about where they said they were talking about the scientific board that oversees these decisions. And they're gonna one of the people I follow is in that board, or will be in that board. And I said, well, you need yes men and women to do that, Joe. And he took me to task for a second, but then I see this again, so nobody saying anything is getting anywhere, because somebody at the top is going, shh, calm the fuck down, Bob. They don't like that. Pave's coming in.
Do you think
here?
So they have the same CFR codes, they have the same codes for pharmaceutical approval. Like, they have codes for that. Do you think that they went in front of Congress and said, oh, here are the complicated regulatory practices that we require for pharmaceuticals, with science, the actual science built into them, and we need you to approve these? They wouldn't. These fucking politicians don't know the science. No. They're not scientists.
That's kind of the point. Even a congressman could understand that vaping products are safer.
Well, Brian King is actually he is an actual doctor, Raj.
He is a doctor.
Yeah, he's a medical doctor.
Wasn't sure.
I believe that he's an immunologist. I could actually pull up his credentials.
Yeah, I think,
let me double check. I'm gonna double check.
He's a yes man. Either way,
he is that. But I want to make sure that he is. Let's see. Let's pull up his. He's a PhD. He is a doctor of public health.
Me too. I'm CDC certified.
He is the director, Center for Tobacco Products at the U.S. FDA. Prior to joining FDA, he served as deputy director of research translation in the Office of Smoking and Health at the Centers for Disease Control. Dr. King joined the CDC in 2010 as an epidemic intelligence service officer, before which he worked as a research affiliate at the Division of Cancer Prevention Population Studies at Roswell Park.
Okay.
I'm trying to see where he went to school.
Roswell.
So yes, he is a PhD and a Master of Public Health in Epidemiology. So he is an epidemiologist. I was right.
Okay. There is a Roswell thing I can throw, but anyway.
Roswell Park, yeah, there's so much shit we can say about Roswell Park. I mean, they are a respected cancer center, don't get me wrong, but they are so wrong about vaping. They've produced bucket loads of bad science on vaping. So yeah, we don't even.
Okay, out of the weeds.
Well,
they can make decisions and they
weeds?
choose against. So they choose
it's
against
not the weeds. I had these listed show notes. These are not weeds. These are not weeds. This is all in the show notes. So this is a Twitter thing that you did, and you sent me.
What's this guy? What?
So we're going to contextualize all of this highlighting nonsense here. So you
wait a minute. I
didn't
do
you
that.
You retweeted yourself.
I overtweeted myself. Look at Kathy above.
Well, you as a reply to Catherine E. Foley's comment, which is here.
Yeah.
Okay, but we need to go all the way up. There's a very long.
Oh yeah.
There's a very long bit of nonsense here. So we're going to start at the top so that we can contextualize this. So Catherine E. Foley, she is covering the FDA for Politico. So she's not a health expert. She's a fucking writer.
Seems to be balanced. Seems to be. I do follow.
Politico is actually not horrible as a news source, not normally.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing her specifically by any means, in any way, shape, or form.
But we still need to contextualize your nonsense there. Anyway, so FDA's Brian. I love it when these people. So this is a Twitter expert here because she put the period in front of the @. So for y'all that don't know, for us old school Twitterers, and some of you new people may not know this, but if you @ somebody at the beginning of a tweet without putting a character in front of the @ it doesn't disseminate the way it normally would.
And nobody will see it.
Nobody will see it.
It'll
only the person that you're adding will see it.
Exactly.
Now, if you put a character in front of the @ then everybody that you follow, everybody that follows you will see it. Everybody that follows the person that you're adding will also see it.
Allegedly. I don't think that works anymore.
That's the way it used to work, though.
Right, but the first point is definitely true.
Yes.
But I'm not sure of the second anymore.
Yeah, but it used to be, that's how it gets. So that means that she's an old school Twitterer.
Yes.
She's one of the basement dwellers, I would assume. So it says here, FDA Tobacco's Brian King kicks off SRNT 2023 with opening remarks. Says his first 8 months as center director has been a baptism by blowtorch.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
That's a pretty witty line, but
that's funny.
He says that the agency is working through 250,000 comments on proposed rules that would ban menthol cigarettes, flavored cigars, and is working on responding to each of those. CTP plans to finalize these rules by the end of the year. So this here, let's address this 250,000 comment on menthol. So if we go to the Federal Registrar's website, Kevin, I believe that is www.regulations.gov. Right?
I don't know if you can
respond. So that is a list. This is a list of all of the open dockets for proposed regulations, as well as a storehouse of CFRs. Everything is here if you know how to look for it. So if I go here and I type in deeming, for all of you old guys, you will remember this stuff. So we want to go down to I guess I should just put tobacco. Let's see if we can thin this out a little bit. The largest I remember this. I was in this meeting. The largest docket ever in the history of regulations.gov. I believe if I click on any of these, I can go here to this docket. Here we go. No. Should be able to find the original deeming docket.
There was millions, wasn't it?
we set the world record for comments on any governmental open comment. Was it a proposed rule for ANPRM?
I
That's the word.
believe. I'm not sure if it's that one. I put the survey in there as my part of my comment.
Yeah. There we go. This is the one. This is the original deeming.
Yeah.
This is the original deeming right here. Now, if you made a comment on this docket, you could at one point open and read every comment. And we've done it. We've done shows where we actually went through the docket and read comments. There are
browse all comments.
Yep. So some of these have no comments. Some of these have attachments and documents. My comment, this is not searchable because I tried one time to search my name and it didn't come up. So here's Stan Glance's comment. If you scroll down here, you'll see a lot. E Alternatives, I believe, is Dimitri. This is Dimitri, one of Dimitri's companies, I believe. But this is back from 2014. Just Lou Ritter, we know him.
Yep.
He's from Maryland, I believe.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the is this the comment period where there were a shitload of bots in there as well from the other?
No, that was this is the original deeming vaping as a tobacco product docket. Now, subsequent dockets were just added to this docket. So when the 2016, every time they change something, they are supposed to do an ANPRM. So yeah, I mean, you're going to see, Stan Glantz made another one. Doctors, but I mean, some of these are, let's open Stacy Richardson here. So people actually took a moment to write more than 100 characters or whatever, the 122 characters or whatever. This was a big deal. I'm surprised that so many people didn't put there. Carl Phillips. Look at Carl Phillips. And he actually attached his as a PDF file. So
it was probably long.
Mine was 14 pages.
Was it? Yeah.
But they're talking about working through 250,000 comments, right? Is what that says. They're working through 250,000 comments. You know what they did at the end of the comment period, Kevin?
What?
They didn't read a single one.
No. Oh, I knew that.
Now, I brought up open and closed systems earlier. Now, in the Reynolds comments, which was submitted by RAI, which was their there's Ray Story, we know him. RAI comment. Look at all of the different exhibits, right? So they specifically put in their comment that any system that could be adulterated or adjusted or changed by the end user was deleterious to health and should be banned immediately. So they RAI Reynolds and other big tobacco companies addressed open sources, open systems at the beginning in 2014.
Yep.
And the regulations were written in such a way that they want to regulate the product, the hardware and the liquid as a single item. Like that's what their preferred thing is. But now, since there are other players manufacturing closed systems, that pissed off Big Tobacco big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyway, agency is working to propose a rule that would set a limit of nicotine levels in cigarettes and other combustible tobacco products as soon as possible. That was Gottlieb's stuff back in 2016, right? Like he was
still working.
Yeah, King notes that CTP is still behind on PMTAs, but notes that given the number of applications CTP received for synthetic nicotine products alone, agency would have had to get through 17,000 applications per day, 24 hours a day to meet the deadline of mid-June of last year, which is
Duh.
On menthol vape denials as of late, King says the science wasn't there to grant marketing orders. We don't want to accept a macaroni necklace marketed as a pearl necklace.
Yeah.
Now, I seem to remember somebody mentioned that Ryan King said during the vaping meeting a week prior to this that they would relax the scientific standards as products were on the market longer, and after a while they would be able to relax those standards. However, he just said right here, we don't want to accept a macaroni necklace instead of a pearl necklace. So he's making a quality
assumption
statement there. Like, we're not going to approve a cheap application when we have these really expensive applications. Like, he's talking out of one side of his face to people to make them happy. But then as soon as they're gone away, oh no, we're not going to accept any peanut butter and jelly. We're not going to accept a peanut butter and jelly application when we have caviar over here. On compliance and enforcement actions, King addressed criticism the FDA has gone after small businesses. He says that agency isn't thinking of big or small. It's thinking about who is obeying the law. Notes plenty of small companies can obey the law.
Mm-hmm. Which law?
Yeah, which one are you talking about?
Which law?
Curious, King also says that he has had over 30 stakeholder meetings and has not turned down a meeting. I thought I had heard of a company that had gotten a response from CTP when they requested a meeting. Am I wrong? CTP hiring a director of health equity who will report directly to King moving forward. So I need to address this health equity definition here. And this has a lot to do with equal access, equal treatment, and equal value of healthcare to people across socioeconomic and racial groups. That's what equity means, that everybody should be getting the same value from their healthcare as other people, or their health regulations as other people. This word equity, in this particular instance, I fully support the fact that we should be treating everyone fairly, and they should get the same value as anybody else. Anyway, King refers to the Reagan we just had a link. Note that CTP is in its adolescence and has had to grow very quickly to keep up with centers that have been around for 100 years. It says this is just the beginning. We've established the blueprint, King says, about CTP's response to the Reagan-Udall review. Agency released their response last Friday. My story for pros here. Blah, blah, blah. It's been 5 years since the nicotine plan from Gottlieb and Zeller. King says they haven't abandoned that, but had to pull back on the accelerator for the plan when there was an uptick in youth vape use. Blah, 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 blah. Oof, 21st century Cures Act apparently didn't cover CDP, which is in part meant that folks could get more money for the same job at FDA in different centers, which is a factor in recruitment and retention. So CDP only has about 1,000 employees, Kevin.
1,000, 1,200, something. Yeah. Not many.
Yeah, a lot of this is nonsense that doesn't really have anything to do. He's talking about retirement here. A great question here on Making King's presentation here available to those not present at SRT, which means industry, because SRT hasn't allowed industry since 2021. King was super open to making sure presentations were made public. Another one from a researcher at NIDA on more cessation activities across department. King says that he thinks the future product standards are going to play a role for regulatory agency in tandem with other agencies. King addresses the epidemic issue, says this: the FDA has never called youth vaping an epidemic, but that there still is an issue with 2.5 million kids that use vape regularly, and this is where you come in with FDA. And,
those are not, I repeat, not my highlights. That is, I think, Dr. Gardner, but that they have indeed used the word epidemic, and that they had done testing. They had done testing on whether the word epidemic would scare people or not. Do you want to take a wild guess as to who partially helped write that?
Oh, I would say Altria.
No, well, the obvious, but no, the alleged authors on this PDF in that tweet is Catherine Crosby, our good friend who was with Mark last year, and Carrie Wade.
Yeah,
Carrie Wade. Two of I can't remember the rest, but that was part of that. I don't know when that was actually done. I can't read it. 2016, 17, might have been
2018.
18. Is it 18? Yeah. So.
Yes. Unpublished data from FDA 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few comments in that, but Mark got in there. I think because I did skim through the vaping meeting with him, that he said, yeah, we don't use that word. Well, yeah, he used that word when he was at CDC. Mark, yes. I'll call him Dr. Sliss, had a, I knew he had and I couldn't find it, and Mark found the article. So if you find Mark, you'll find that.
Now, I think Bernie would be the doctor. Mark would be Bernie's nurse.
I just can't help it. Look at that. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anywho, that is just to contextualize the fact that you know, a very long thread, but Catherine did a good job of doing some synopsis of his speech, as well as giving an opportunity for you to sneak in the fact that he did lie and say that they have used the word epidemic.
And he, I guess, cleared that up. She put a tweet out saying that FDA did use it. So it was clarified that it was used by FDA. So she did put another one on there. Is Bernie in the room?
Yeah.
Bernie. So either way, he's full of shit. Either way, he's full of shit.
Let's go, Waukee.
But you've got a captive audience, and you know the room, so you're going to play to that room is what you're doing, which is what he did with our people, if you will, and what he's doing with those people, if you will. Thank you. I appreciate you willing.
Yeah, if you will.
If you will.
If you will. So, you'll get a laugh out of this.
All right.
Now, this story was on multiple news sites. It was not just on one. I picked one just because. So this is from the Daily Star.
Oh, that's well.
So I I like picking this side out because of the wonderful photographs, you know.
Yeah. Is this the one with my bum?
A vape popped up 3 pints and thought he was dying in intensive care. Now this looks like your general neck beard vapor dude bro guy.
I imagine
Dustin
if you stuff that in your
45,
mouth,
claims I don't stuff anything cylindrical into my mouth, Kevin. Claims that after switching from cigarettes to vapes, he began coughing up straight blood and ended up in intensive care with bacterial pneumonia. A man addicted to vaping has warned others against using electronic cigarettes, claiming he coughed up 3 pints of blood and was rushed to hospital where he thought he'd die. I always like when these British news sites report stuff from the United States. Dustin Fitzgerald from Clinton, Indiana, U.S., had been a lifelong smoker and got through a whopping 60 cigarettes a day. That's 3 packs, Kevin. 3 packs.
Yeah.
The 45-year-old decided to take up vaping in an effort to ditch the unhealthy habit, but soon became hooked on flavored vape pens, puffing on them for up to 12 hours a day for 10 months. It was then that Dustin began to experience a strong cough that turned into a horrifying medical episode, leaving him almost needing a blood transfusion. So let's be clear, boys and girls.
Yeah.
If you cough up 3 pints of blood, there is no question you will need a blood transfusion.
3 pints. Now, some of you drink. What's a pint? Think about
it. Not almost need. You will need one because that is half of your lung or your blood volume in your body. That's not a little anemic.
Well, 10 months it took it to happen, though, Patrick. I mean, come on. He looks pretty healthy. Though.
Dustin, a saw filer, so he sharpens saws.
Yeah.
Let me close this.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, let me scroll back down here. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having that job. Dustin, a saw filer, said, I started vaping to quit smoking when they raised cigarette prices. I thought it would solve problems financially and health-wise, but I started to abuse it because you can vape inside. I would vape constantly for 10 to 12 hours a day while at work, but once I started coughing, I just couldn't stop, not even while I was trying to sleep. Dustin, a recovering meth addict, had been trying to quit smoking for 3 years before he took up vaping. He would smoke up to 3 packs a day and said that he found his nicotine habit harder to quit than meth, but hoped that switching to vaping would help to save money as well as improve his health. He began vaping in January of 2022 and would purchase an XL3000 puff vape pen containing 8 mils of fluid, 4 times the legal limit in the UK, finishing the whole thing in less than a week. I really did like it. I liked the taste, so I would hit it more often than I used to smoke, Dustin said.
That happens.
By October of 2022, the cough had started to keep him up at night, so he decided to visit a doctor who wrongly diagnosed him with bronchitis at first, but later that same day he began coughing up blood, so he and his wife rushed to the ER. When I noticed I was coughing blood, I was freaked out, but I still didn't make the connection if it was from vaping. I ended up on oxygen in the ER, and breathing felt like someone had put 10 elephants on my chest, and that was when they told me what caused it.
Sure.
Describing the terrifying ordeal, Kevin, Dustin added, I was coughing up a lot, and it was straight blood. When I got there, the doctor said I had lost 3 pints. They even worried I would need a blood transfusion. Again, if you're 3 quarts low or 3 pints low, That's a lot of blood. You need a transfusion. There's no might involved. Dustin was taken to intensive care where he is quarantined as doctors feared he would have hepatitis, or tuberculosis. He has the consumption, Kevin. He was placed on an oxygen supply with a mask around his head, but his serious condition still didn't stop him from trying to sneak his vape in with him.
Oh, imagine.
He said, Dustin said, I barely took a hit, and then my chest felt like somebody had put 10 elephants. There's those 10 elephants again. I felt like I was going to die. That moment scared me more than the blood.
Yeah.
He said that he was eventually diagnosed with bacterial pneumonia, and doctors told him that the vapes had caused a buildup of moisture in his lungs. Yeah. Dustin spent 3 nights in the hospital before returning home and hasn't touched a vape pen since. Now he's warned others to use them with caution. If you decide to vape, use it wisely. Don't abuse it like I did. If you don't smoke, it's pointless to start vaping. Just don't do it.
Wow.
3 pints of blood, Kevin.
You know, I'm thinking there might be a correlation between him vaping 12 hours a day with all those metal shavings and his bleeding. But I don't know. I'm not
just thinking it might. I just think it might be the fucking math, man.
I just play one in my basement on Twitter because that's. Yeah.
I mean, if he's smoking crystal meth, I mean that shit's pretty bad for your lungs.
I've never smoked crystal.
Tons of horrible chemicals in crystal meth, man. I mean, I've never smoked it either, but I have driven past a meth lab, and you like the chemicals cooking it is bad.
Yeah, cab driving.
Yeah, very caustic.
Oh yeah, I know. You know, in the almost 10 years,
Kevin,
the genocide,
I'm very concerned
about what.
I'm still very concerned about mold there. You need to have that. You need to get some mold people in there to maybe remove some of that black mold.
What? You bought it for a second. You're
the black mold in your basement.
Oh, in my basement. Fuck that.
In your basement.
I'll have Brian clean it up when he arrives. In the 10 years we've been doing this, I've tried really hard to make my lungs bleed, and I haven't yet. I hope it never happens, but why not?
You know how to make your lungs bleed, Kevin, if you really try hard?
Sharp instruments.
Is if you just grind up some glass and inhale it, it'll... If you're saying you're trying hard, I mean, I'm trying to help you. I know a solution.
Well, there's days where I chain vape, and there's days where I don't. Oh, are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm just looking at my Wi-Fi router string. There we go. It's weird.
You what?
I'm hardwired in.
Yeah, to what?
To my router. My
router.
I'm hardwired. I'm not on the Wi-Fi. But for some reason
I am, and you're button.
The Wi-Fi indicator just
you think I should paint the stairs like FDA colors to make him feel more welcome? Is that something I should do?
Well, I'm thinking if you do though, you can't just paint over the mold, Kevin. You have to get rid of the mold and then paint.
Do you think it would be dangerous for him to breathe it 24 hours a day for like a year?
Well, but I'm worried more about you since you're tweeting from his basement, you know.
You know, I was going to tell him I was tweeting from my father's grave who died from lung cancer in 2014, but I chose not to. I do on occasion use my father. On occasion. Huh? What? My father would have already driven to the FDA and beat the hell out of somebody. Well. Did we lose everybody?
There was a Twitter. I had to point out. There was a tweet. There was a tweet that I really wanted to draw some attention. So I saw this tweet, and this was not in the show notes, Kevin. This is in addition to all of the content that we already created. So this Notre Dameus. This is University of Notre Dame, Australia.
It sounds important to me.
Yes. Did you catch Professor Renee Batoon's insightful article in The Conversation about the risks of passive vaping? That's the same thing as secondhand smoke. I'm just, So, all right, we're gonna open this article and we're gonna skim it. We're not gonna read the whole thing, but we're gonna skim it, Kevin.
My third ear is getting all excited.
So, passive vaping. Time we see it like secondhand smoke and stand up for the right to clean air.
That's right.
And this was published a while ago. This was published in February 23rd, but I didn't see it until Notre Dameus retweeted it. So it says here, a medical student of mine recently said he loved the smell of vanilla in the house he shared with friends who vaped. That's okay, right? He asks.
Yeah.
Well, no, I said, if you can smell the vanilla, you are probably getting the nicotine as well. And then he goes on to describe that nicotine is a colorless and odorless and is extremely well absorbed through your respiratory tract, including your nose, mouth, airways, and even your ears. Kevin, your ears.
My third ear.
It says vapors exhale nicotine and chemicals, including sweet-smelling flavorings. Bystanders can then breathe them in. The lung defenses of smokers, vapors, and bystanders are overwhelmed by repeated exposure. There is a lot of vaping going on in young people between the ages of 18 and 24, adults. Despite a good amount of debate about the health effects of vaping, there is scant discussion around the risk of passive vaping and the consequences for the health and well-being of non-vapers and their right to inhale clean air.
Don't click off of that yet.
I'm not clicking off this. There's still more. But wait, there's more. We have done testing. There has been testing done, Kevin.
CDC
there's been testing done that says that there is zero risk of nicotine being absorbed through the emissions of people that are vaping. Zero. Anyway, this is supposed to be some sort of. She's a conjoint professor of nicotine addiction at Avondale University and the University of Notre Dame, Australia. So this is supposed to be a smart person. Did you see Kim just showed up, Kevin?
Oh, look at that. The cranky old broad.
Hey, Kim.
I'm using you as a reference in a few. Or he will.
Really? Researchers have examined the content of exhaled vapors from users in confined spaces like cars and larger venues. Although levels were lower than for tobacco cigarettes, they described levels of the exhaled toxic substances as ambient air pollution that should be avoided to protect the health of non-smokers and non-vapers. Indistinguishable from background level, Kevin. That is what the results of every bit of science that I've read on passive vaping and secondhand emissions has said. Evidence for the effects of passive vaping on the heart. We just read a fucking article about cardiologists saying they could find no risk of cardiovascular disease between people that vape and people that don't vape. None. No difference at all in the risk of cardiovascular disease. The evidence for the effects is emerging, but researchers have compared it to passive smoking, which is bullshit, which can clog cardiac. You see, there's no link. Like they're hyperlinking the fuck out of shit here. No hyperlink for this passive vaping nonsense, which can clog arteries and cause clotting problems. Publications that demonstrate the harmful respiratory effects of passive vaping are growing. So anyway, I'm not going to read this bullshit
Go-
anymore.
Go back to the top. Go back to the second paragraph. Sorry, I meant the second paragraph. The first 5 words. I want you guys, every freaking one of you, to put that in your head, file it in your file, stick it in your basement, and understand when they say, and they don't do it as much as they used to, when they say the words nicotine stains, they're full of shit.
Yes. No,
That's all I had to say about that.
That is not.
And I hope you all enjoyed the show, because that has pissed me off for decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
So I saw this nonsensical article
because you're you.
because and I felt like we needed to get a respected scientist who is our good friend Roberto Sussman, has been on the show.
Yes.
Roberto is a nuclear scientist. He's an astrophysicist. Way
smart guest. Way. I don't even remember anything he said that I could remember.
And our interview with Roberto is on our YouTube channel. I have encouraged Dr. Sussman to read this horrible nonsense and write a reply. Because again, he's a physicist. So I want somebody who is not a public health doctor. I want somebody who knows the science of particles.
Yeah.
And how they exist in the environment, how they move and interact with the world, to read that nonsense and to refute the nonsense.
Or
I really hope that he reads my tweet and says, "Oh, this," because he did an actual study talking about they've already published a study about the physics of exhalation with vaping and how the particles distribute downward.
Yes.
Vape
doesn't rise.
Well,
unless you blow it up.
Unless you're super sub-ohming, and there is some smoke. Like if you go to a vape convention where there are hundreds of people vaping, you will see a level of emissions that build up over time with a bunch of people from the ground up. But then if you look up, there is still smoke up there. And that is from actual caramelization and things that are occurring on the coil at super high temperatures.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they looked at the air in a vape convention, and guess what they found? Nothing. Speaking
nothing to write home about.
Nope. And we didn't do it. They did it. That's another story for another time.
The unnameable they.
Twits.
I'm trying to.
A bunch of twits snuck into a vape convention.
Speaking of twits.
Yeah.
Where there you are. I'm trying to find you in my inbox. There, I found it.
Yeah.
So we talked about the victimization and the punishment of young people that were caught at school vaping Delta 8.
Yep.
And they were being arrested and charged with felonies in Texas because they thought it was THC. And now, Kevin, you sent me a link that is about a new bill in Illinois that would end the police citing writing citations for kids at school that are vaping.
Yep.
So, new bill could end police ticketing in Illinois schools. Students have continued to get costly citations for vaping, fighting, and other misbehaviors, even after state officials directed educators to end the practice. So then there is a stock picture of some child paying a $450 fine for disorderly conduct at the courthouse, apparently. A new bill in the Illinois House aims to stop schools from working with police to issue student tickets for minor misbehavior, a harmful and sometimes costly practice that many districts have continued despite pleas to stop from the state's top education officials. So let's not punish these children for breaking the law.
For minor misbehavior, by the way.
It's still the law. Breaking the law. This is like California decriminalizing theft for anything under $1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's just stop that so people will just steal $999 worth of product. An investigation by ProPublica and the Chicago Tribune revealed last year school-based ticketing was rampant across Illinois, with police writing citations that can result in a fine of up to $750 for conduct once handled by the principal's office. Well, because the kids are so violent these days, Kevin, I have seen this week on Twitter alone, like a dozen videos of students physically assaulting and knocking the teachers out, like completely out. Like I saw a video today of a kid in school, big kid in school, like a high school age kid, punching a female teacher in the face and knocking her out.
Yeah.
So the escalation, like when I was in school, I would never have considered laying a hand on a teacher. Period.
Never.
I was taught to be respectful by my parents. And if I was disrespectful at school, I would have got my ass beat at school. And then I would have gone home and got my ass beat again.
Exactly.
Now,
never ever.
I'm sorry if this is going to harm the fragility of people here, but children only learn from something that they are afraid of. These kids today need to be put in their place. They need to understand respect. And they're no longer being taught that because every parent wants to teach their little Timmy that Timmy is special and better than everybody else. I'm sorry, little Timmy is not special. And little Timmy is not better than everybody else. Matter of fact, little Timmy needs his ass beat. And he needs to be taught that his mouth needs to be shut and he shouldn't be disrespectful and say like bad words to his teachers, that he should be respectful of teachers, that a boy should never lay hands on a woman unless like asked to. Now, that might be old-fashioned, Kevin. I was taught never to hit a girl, not ever to lay hands on a girl, not to be disrespectful, not to.
I've never hit my
women
wife.
Should be women should be held up on a pedestal. That it is the man's job to protect a woman. I'm sorry, there are many strong women that watch this show. I love and respect each and every one of you, and in my mind, I hold you above every guy that watches this show. I do.
Yes. Oh yeah, of course.
Janine, I hold Janine above Tom every way. Even though I love Tom, but Janine is
Janine. It's just
Janine is Janine. Mallory,
she ain't even in here.
Same thing. I would hold Mallory above Troop any day of the week. But yes, this violence in school shit, it's because these kids have not been taught to fear.
Way out of control.
They have no fear of repercussions, Kevin. They have not been ever. They have not. No one has ever taught them responsibility, and that there are repercussions to your actions.
Very, very, very little, if any. I don't get it. I just don't. And I, as well as you are, am old-fashioned. I held a door for a woman. What?
It says here, awesome Facebook video currently showing GMA walking up unconscious granddaughter after. Oh, okay. I thought he was saying he was leaving after I verbally abused him.
Oh. Yeah. I held a door for a woman, and she didn't like that. And
yes,
because she could hold the door herself. And I didn't mean to offend anyone at all, but hey, you open doors. That's all.
Now, Kevin, I have a funny story. So I moved. I think everybody knows that I am a genteel Southern gentleman.
Yeah. Well,
and then I lived the vast majority of my life below the Mason-Dixon line.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taught to be respectful to all people, and that you refer to men as sir and women as ma'am.
I've had this one too, yeah.
So I moved from New Orleans to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I transferred. I was working for the same company that when I moved to Pennsylvania, I did an internal transfer. I transferred from here to there. I was working for the same company. The first day,
you said
didn't you? I was in the office in Pennsylvania. I did my full shift. As I was clocking out, the boss says, "Could you come into my office, please?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yes, ma'am," right away. Go into the office, and she says, "You didn't have a very good first day."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, really? I thought it was pretty good." She goes, "We've already received a complaint from one of your coworkers."
Yep.
And I said, "Could you explain to me the nature of this?" She said, "Did you call," and I won't say the lady's name, "did you call her ma'am?"
Yep.
And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I call all women ma'am." Well, she says that you called her old. And I said, "No, ma'am. If someone is older than me and asks me to do something, hey, could you do this?" "Yes, ma'am," right away.
Yeah.
If someone younger than me asks me for assistance, I say, "Yes, ma'am," right away.
Yeah.
I was taught to be respectful in all of my communications. And she said, "Oh, well, in the future, don't call that lady ma'am.
Yep.
She's very sensitive."
Yep.
And I said, "Now, do I have to go to each and every person that works here to ask whether they want to be treated with respect or not?"
Yeah.
Because this seems silly to me.
Mine was almost identical. I called a lady ma'am in her home. She said, "Are you about done?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." I don't remember even saying it, honestly. I just said it because I said it. I finished up what I was doing. I walked up front. I said, "We have to reschedule," which she already knew. "What day are you available? What's the best for you?" Before I call, because they're goofy.
Yeah.
Just to alleviate the 17 minutes of stupidity. And she said, "Will it be you? Will it be you coming back?" And I said, "Well, normally they send the same person back because they know what the issue is and whatever, but it doesn't mean it will be." She said, "Well, I don't want you to come back." And my face, I could feel my face just dropping and turning red. And I said, did I offend you? And so you called me ma'am. So I apologized. I scheduled it. I walked out of that fucking house as fast as I could. I got in my truck. I called my boss and I said, I may or may not have a complaint, but I called her ma'am. And she literally said, my boss, if that's the worst thing you've done all week, you're okay. So yeah, I don't understand that either, but whatever. I don't understand.
Again, I'm just like, it's because these people have been indoctrinated
right
in this new world where mediocrity is celebrated. That
I don't understand.
That competition is bad. You can know. I guarantee you. I don't remember if I said this on this show. If I said it, I've been on a roll recently. I guarantee you, in the next decade, that they're going to soften these kids up so much that the idea of having a valedictorian and having a published honor roll will be considered triggering to some people because they don't compete.
Meet standard. I can kind of see that. I can see that.
And eventually they're not going to have grades at all.
Oh.
Because we don't want people to feel bad because little Timmy is not as smart as, Sally. And Sally is, straight A student. Little Timmy is a C and D student. We wouldn't want him to feel bad because he doesn't he doesn't have the same strengths and skills that Sally does. So we can't make little Timmy feel bad because he's not as good at whatever Sally is good at.
I taught my two young little hooligans to be respectful, and they are. Period.
Right.
So I contributed to that.
But they are the exception. They're not
They're the end line. Yeah. They're the end line.
And the next generation of kids, they want first place trophy just for showing up. I know I sound like the old man yelling at the kids in his yard, but it's gotten to the point now. These kids today they have no structure. They have no. They need guidance. They need some help.
One of the
this is why we have so many kids that are so emotionally fragile now.
Yeah, one of the largest learning experiences as a dad that I had was with Dustin, and he was about 7 or 8 years old, and he got in trouble for something. I don't recall what. I probably went a little higher than I should have in level. And then I realized that I was wrong. And he remembers to this day me walking my ass with my tail between my legs, gently and quietly, and having a discussion with him about my apology, first of all, and the respect that I had. And as he did too. It wasn't a big tussle. It was just, wow, Dad was wrong. I was so wrong. And this is a life lesson for you as well, that I can be wrong, and we have to have discussions. We have to talk with each other, So I hope that continues with other kids, but who knows what?
It's not even kids anymore. It's the fucking adults now. These millennials, these fucking millennials,
rugrats.
Just remember, you're older than I am.
If you can take my timeline on Twitter and see how mostly respectful I am until they don't deserve it, it probably would stun some people with my alleged reputation. This is a very long ProPublica who has done many, many things. I'm very fond of ProPublica. You don't have to go through it all if you don't want to, but It's a long
Well,
one.
we need to at least get to the I stopped
And
right in the middle after the $750 fine
and
stuff. So
Skip is the source.
I don't necessarily think that kids should be reported to the police for breaking school rules. However, they should be punished for breaking the rules.
Well, if they robbed a bank, wouldn't you think they'd call the cops?
Yeah.
All right.
So a 2015 Illinois law prohibits schools from fining students as a form of discipline. School officials instead have been referring students to the police, who then ticket the students for fighting, littering, theft, possessing vape devices, and other violations of local ordinances. The new legislation introduced last month would amend the state's school code to make it illegal for school personnel to involve police to issue student citations for incidents that can be addressed through a school's disciplinary process. As long as the school has a disciplinary process, yes, unless the kid brings a gun into the school or a hunting knife into the school.
It alleviated all responsibility, Patrick. Oh, we can't do that. We're just going to call the cops, right?
Well, again, we have to fix the problem of these kids today not having any fucking respect or structure, though. When they are balling up their fists, a big male student knocking the fuck out of knocked her out cold. Yep. Now, there's the problem of the behavior of the student punching an adult, let alone a female adult. Again, I'm being a little sexist here, but then there's the fact that some asshole stood by and watched it happen so that he could record it and post it on the internet. That kid should be punished as well because he stood by and watched it happen. Now, there seems to be a trend of these types of videos of students attacking teachers, but I saw a video the other day where I don't want to get into the color stuff here, but a black student came up to a white student at the dining room or at the lunch table, and he said, you can't quite make it out. So I'm not sure whether it sounded like, I want you to say something racist to me. And the white student said no. Now I could have the interpretation of that wrong because the volume is so low, but I heard him say something about racist or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the guy said no. And he's just sitting there eating. And the next thing you know, this guy just starts beating the fuck out of that kid at school, in the lunchroom. And the white kid did not fight back. He just, was getting drugged by the head of the hair. Guy was beating the shit out of him, and nobody stopped.
Nobody said a word. Yeah.
That's the problem. Yep. Now, when I was a kid, I'm not saying we didn't have fights. No. Students had fights with each other, but we made sure to do it after school and off of school property. Yeah. I'm gonna get you after school. That happened. Yeah. And that probably shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. But like I said, these big students, the teenager that punched the female student was a foot taller than her. Like he was a high school, and he just clocked her and knocked her the fuck out. And I'm just like, what the hell? So that particular instance was assault. Yes, Skip is right. That is assault. Yep. And that child should be punished through the legal system, not through the school system. But if they catch a kid vaping, I don't know that they need to call the police, but they definitely need to have some sort of punitive punishment at school. I think that they should, Tom said about caning. I don't know I don't know about caning, but
Well,
we got paddled in the hallway when I was a kid.
hi, how you doing? Yeah, I got a few of them.
I was taken into the hallway more than once. When I was in the 5th grade, so we're sitting in our classroom, and the neighboring teacher knocks. They have, all the classrooms had adjoining doorways to the next classroom.
Yeah.
And the teacher said something to my teacher, and she said, "Okay, class, I have to step out in the hallway." So the doorway from our classroom to the next classroom was open, and you could see that teacher had lined up every student in the class.
Wow.
And they were all lined up.
Wow.
The entire class had been so unruly, he just decided to give every kid in the class 3 licks.
Wow.
But he was a smart man. He gave each of them 1 and then made them go to the back of the line to get and wait till the next one. Because the first one hurts. The second one is a little less painful because it's numb a little bit, and by the third one you don't really feel the third one. But if you get 1 and then have to wait 10 minutes to get the second one, you're going to feel that second one just as much as the first one. And
wow.
We had a teacher, I can remember, she broke a paddle on a kid when I was in school. Now, that might have been a little bit too much, but I think that we should have corporal punishment in the schools again. That teach these kids to not, there's a difference between beating and getting paddled, getting corrective punishment. There is a difference between abuse and corrective punishment.
I've got my mother's paddle hanging in my garage. I should put it down here in the basement.
Yeah.
I do have it.
Yeah.
And it was never left a mark on any of my kids. Never touched their butts, ever. It's hanging in the garage on.
My dad never hit us. My mom was the disciplinarian. My dad was always gone. My dad never had to because he would just look at you and point his finger. He would his finger was like a mile long. Like when you're a kid and he's pointing at you and he starts like talking to you in that monotone. He never raised his voice. Monotone voice. Like you felt like by the time you were done, like he had beat this. But mom had already beat our asses already. And by the time he came home from work, he just, you're grounded for 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This touchy feely, these kids need beaten. I'm sorry. Especially the ones that are knocking. I mean, I could go on Twitter and find these videos, but I'm not gonna. Like, I'm not gonna show that shit. But
I mean, they crossed my path.
I mean, we have an entire generation of broken children. We need to figure out why they're broken, and that might be that they just never.
You think it could be because of the lower smoking?
A, they need hugged, and B, they need to they need to be taught that there are limitations to how much that they can do before they have to pay the piper.
Logan's got his hugs down. He's got plenty of them, both to and fro.
Yeah, my mama had a when I was a little kid. My mom had a spatula, one of those rubber spatulas, and it had a little bit of a curve. It had a little bit of a curve, and it had a little bit of an air pocket in it. And she didn't have to swing it very hard, but it made a really loud sound. And that was really all that just the startle was enough when you were little. So yes, I don't ever see a reason to raise your voice. Yelling doesn't solve anything.
No.
But yes, there should be some punishments, Anyway, damn. We've only been here 2.5 hours, and we've covered everything that we needed to cover, Kevin.
I think I think it would behoove us to go one more step for Skip, actually.
Kim?
Because stop it, because she's here. Let me make it bigger and all the other happy stuff that you complain about.
There better not
the
be any
complaint
video
department
on
is
here.
no the complaint department is down by the pool, by the way, behind me. Let me do my thing here real fast. She put something on her Houdini thingy bobber, her Twitter that made me smile.
Did she share? Did she share the this is the 2-year anniversary of Sea Dog's?
I saw that. I saw that. This is not what that is, and I don't know if this will surprise her specifically or not. But I think Skip has probably done 100 times more things than I've done for our little world of PHR, if you will. Let me find her. You'd think I'd have her right on the top button, but no. Huh? What?
Kim has never made me swear.
I gotta.
My favorite aunt's name is Kim. That's why I'm calling Skip Kim.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Where is it?
Yeah, my mom's sister, her name is Kim. Kimberly.
She's done a lot of tweeting the past day or two. Where is it?
I was actually quite busy today on Twitter. I actually tweeted more than I have in a while.
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I got to find it because it's something I think everybody should follow because it's a work in progress. Oh, she's SRNT in the past few days. Where'd it go?
Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna play a video.
Do that. Yeah.
I'm gonna play a 2-minute video.
Okay, I just found it, so good.
Well, too late now. I'm gonna do my video. COPD, dying of end stage, COPD is awful. If you've ever seen somebody that has end stage COPD fighting for every breath, that fear of trying to get to the oxygen, trying to get that breath. Think about that every moment of every day.
Forever.
I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get the fighting for that air, that panic. I mean, it's a primal fear that all humans have of suffocation.
Yeah.
And we need to be more sympathetic to those people. We need to understand. I mean, like you said in the intro video, this is not a black and white thing, but tobacco control has made it a black and white thing. They've drawn a line. And they've said, this is the way you're doing it. And if you don't do it our way,
you're a criminal.
Forget about you. Harm reduction is supposed to be focused on meeting the person that you're trying to help where they are, not trying to drag them to where you are. If the patches and the gums work for some people, wow, that's awesome. You're not smoking. That's great. But for a lot of us, it didn't work.
Yep.
And they need to understand that there's not one magic bullet. There's not one solution to this problem that's going to solve this problem for everyone.
See that?
I did see it. I did see it. I did tweet it too. I tweeted it.
Yeah.
Go out on the Twitters and retweet my tweet.
Mark has something on that too today, actually, from an older tweet. Skip, who I love this cranky old broad more than anybody on the screen, except maybe you, Patrick.
Yeah.
March is Men's History Month. March 8th is International Women's Day. So she plans on celebrating women in THR all month. So it's an ongoing process. We are making history as we work to end death and disease from smoking. Her goal is to have at least 100 women in this thread by March 31st. So I find this lovely because she's one of them, you know, and she takes very little credit because you don't take a lot of credit. She's a published author, by the way. She's got
Kim is
research paper we covered a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Kim is a published author.
I'm gonna get into my YouTubes here in a second. I'll throw this tweet on there, and I think somebody's already. Oh, look at trouble right there. Yeah, I've muted you, you bastard. I think there's going to be people cutting into this, so I don't know how this thread will end up without, how things get in there. But I'm looking forward to the end of the month for this because I think there are at least 100, and I think there's going to be more. But this is part of the reason that I love Skip. I really do. So there you go.
There you go.
It's important.
It's impotent. I just want to know when is International Men's History Month?
24 hours a day, right?
Well, shouldn't we celebrate important historical women every month?
You think? Well, there's days for everything now and months for everything now, and pizza day and ice cream day and all that other bullshit. So.
Well, I mean, pizza is very important, and there should be a pizza day every week.
It's become dumbed down or drowned out or whatever. So yeah.
St. Patrick's Day's coming up. That's my holiday.
Is that a Friday? Because I don't. Yeah. Ooh,
it is a Friday.
Are you going to be in any condition to be on?
Yes, I still have to work. They wouldn't let. I asked to take that day off so that I could day drink, and they told me no, I couldn't have it off.
I got to get into the YouTubes here so I can throw that tweet.
Yeah,
a very important tweet, by the way.
Yeah, very important tweet.
Skip gets too little credit for the things she has done.
Kim is one of the most important awesome people. God. Yeah. Now, the moment you're in YouTube, you lock up. By the way, I just want you to know that. So if you're going to go into YouTube, don't speak until you're out of YouTube.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin, are you talking to somebody off screen?
I don't like you. I don't like you. I barely talk to you as it is. There. Now I've done it. I've gone and done it.
You've done it. You've done it.
You blush all you want, woman.
Yeah.
Don't care. Ain't scared.
She's blushing.
Good. Speaking of blushing.
Yeah, I got another target on Twitter, by the way.
I haven't heard from our friend in quite some time. I'm still concerned about Mark. I don't know.
Well, he was here last week.
Skip's Mark.
Oh, well, I think she killed him.
She's going to end up.
Because he hasn't posted any photographs in a while.
She locked her phone or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, Vital Strategies.
No, for Christ's sake. What you got to do?
Vital Strategies tweeted this week.
Oh, I sent that to you, didn't I?
You tweeted, and I think I saw your tweet, and then I just decided to tweet it.
Yeah, that's it.
So Vital Strategies over here. I'm clicking on the share screen. There we go. They say taxing sugary drinks reduces consumption and helps prevent obesity and diabetes, but public support for these taxes is critical to ensuring they are implemented. Read our commentary on blah, blah, blah about building this support with communication campaigns. So I double dipped here. So not only did I replied to their tweet with the same stuff that I included on my own wall. So just so that I could make sure that enough people saw this. So I say that, sin taxes don't work. People seek out pleasure where they can find it. Stressed, struggling, distressed people won't be dissuaded when something gives them joy or satisfaction, because by and large, the people that consume these things that you want to tax have problemed lives. They're depressed. They smoke to get away from all sorts of problems that they have going on. They overeat because they have stress and problems. They consume sugary beverages or donuts or things like that because that makes them feel good, and that may be the only thing that they can do at that moment to feel good about themselves. So what you're doing, punitive taxes on happiness are what you are promoting. Victimizing people that are already victims. That's all these little campaigns do. This is not going to solve this. Sin tax on sugary drinks, sin taxes on tobacco have not in any way, shape, or form affected the sales of those products.
Nope.
People we've discussed it on the show. When I was poor and didn't have money, and I had money for lunch or money for cigarettes, I bought cigarettes. And I guarantee you.
And if you had an extra 10 cents, you bought a candy bar.
Most of the people in this chat room that were smokers will agree. If a big gulp, that's right. They still have big gulps, right? That's not. People aren't going to think I'm old. You know what a big gulp is, right?
No, I never heard of it.
Big gulp is a
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven 44-ounce soft drink.
Yeah, big ass gulp.
Right? A big gulp costs, when I was a kid, like 59 cents.
Yeah, and you got to keep the cup.
And you got to keep the cup.
I mean, because, you need one.
A big gulp at 59 cents as a fountain drink was the same price as a can of soda, a 12-ounce can.
Yep.
So only an idiot is going to buy the 12-ounce can.
Yep.
You're going to buy the 44-ounce big gulp.
Yep.
So
you could highlight my tweet on there, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. They're bullshitting the population to not like what Skip likes, but they forget who's next. Skip might not like something you like.
I think this is kind of funny though. The only people that quote tweeted this is Tom, who's in our chat room, me, who's the host of the show, and you,
and some dumbass,
the co-host of the show. That's it. The three of us are the only ones.
We win. Oh, there's Ed. Holy crap, there's Ed.
Ed shows up at the very end of the show again. He's talking about, and those, the wax chocolate donuts, I could eat a whole tube of those. The little Hostess chocolate dipped.
You just said
donuts. You remember the ones, Kevin?
Yep, I know.
They came in like a little
Ed, please next week tell your parole officer I said hello, by the way. 3 people over quoted their dumbass tweets, but you're next. You are next. You like them little wax fucking chocolate donuts? We want those
awesome.
taxed.
You can't have that shit, man.
We should tax anybody locking their phone on their husband.
Anything that makes people happy, we should punish them for trying to be happy, Kevin.
I feel
that's the message.
Punished.
That's the message that sin taxes portray and push into the public, is that if it brings joy, it's bad and you can't have it. And we're gonna make it so expensive that you can't have the thing that makes you happy, because God damn it, you're not allowed to be happy.
It creates corruption. That's what it creates.
You're not allowed to be happy. Period. That's what they're saying.
Nope. You ungrateful little runts.
So let's see.
It's gonna.
So Grim has a picture of.
I've never seen that one.
I have not either. But that's when he was trying to tax sugary beverages in New York City.
He did.
No, they voted it out. Like, it didn't pass.
Oh, I thought it did pass.
No, it never passed. But he did try.
Because nobody would have bought 2,
Right.
Who's Jim? What's he say?
Jim says, bribe more public officials and journalists to control the narrative so that groups at the center
there you go
of that funding web, like Vital Strategies, can impose our will on the slack-jawed peasants. Fixed it for you at Vital Strats. This part goes here. So Vital Strategies food policy program is funded by, so he's saying that this is a study. This is the conclusion of the study where it talks about taxing sugary drinks, and it says ethical issues, none, not applicable. But Vital Strategies food policy program is funded by Bloomberg. This is one of your friends with the circles and the arrows, Kevin.
Hey, watch your mouth. You know who this hurts to me? This hurts my son and his son and the mother. Because if they go to McDonald's and they can't afford the drink, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they can't afford the McDonald's, and they're going to get a 15-minute pleasure, fun time with the boy. Good or bad for the boy doesn't matter to me right now. The point is, we can't get that, honey. It's too expensive. You can't have that. Here, you have to have this. It's water. Right?
So there's a lot of a lot of the usual suspects in here. These are vaping people.
Yeah.
Michael, Johnny, 2 Vapes, Blow Clouds, Dale Staten.
Dale.
These are all names that we know. But Nico Mann here, I don't know Nico, but he is followed by Charles Gardner. I don't know him, but he says it's up to us whether we want to drink sugary drinks. It's none of your damn business. I added damn. It's none of your business what we feed ourselves or our children.
Exactly.
Fergus.
Oh, Fergus. Oh, Christ.
Fergus was the Scottish friend that I was trying to bring up a while
Fergus.
ago.
That is the Fergus, by the way.
That is, who elected you?
He's being awfully quiet.
Taxing behavior just makes government obese.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some pretty nice responses in here.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you retreating this quack? PA harm reduction. Increased taxes cause harm. This is not rocket science.
It's discrimination in a different form. That's what it is.
So my thing is that Vital Strategies is in our crosshairs. Like, we've been paying attention to what they do because we know it's a Bloomberg funded organization. It started out as a research group to help political groups find messaging, and then Bloomberg essentially just bought it.
Yeah.
They used to be a consulting organization, and now it's just a fully funded Bloomberg entity.
Guess who was in there for a long time? I don't know if he is now. Dr. Tom Frieden.
Yep.
He headed that for a while. I don't know if he's still involved, but he got arrested, so maybe that's changed. Who knows?
It could be. But yeah, it's ridiculous. So Costello woke up and he's finally shows up and brings up chocolate, and now he started retweeting stuff on Twitter. So
it must be.
I actually bought a bottle of wine to drink during the show tonight because I thought Ed would be here earlier so that we could enjoy a glass of cab together. But since he showed up late, I'm not going to go open the bottle of wine. But I did go to the store because my favorite Cabernet, this is an embarrassing sort of thing. This is like a $12 bottle of cab, but it is a habanero pepper infused Cabernet.
What?
So it is a spicy cab.
I don't understand.
So
I wouldn't. That doesn't. Nope, not me. Like you and my coffee, you're offended. Me, I'm just like, no, thanks. I'll take the 0. you do like you, wine, though, brother.
Though. You're not a drinker.
I'll drink wine on a very rare occasion or a beer. I do love wine. I just don't love it enough to do it every day.
No, I don't either.
But I don't care if it's cheap.
I actually have a wine refrigerator that holds 30 bottles of wine.
No, I'm not. I don't know
if I buy a big $12 bottle of wine is nothing. I have
What's
a couple bottles of wine. They're like $40, $50 in there. But
the purple Carlo Rossi, whatever, that's the one I usually buy. I don't know how much it is, but that's what I buy, and then it sits in the fridge for years. Looking at it like, is there any mold?
Oh no, there's always a bottle of wine open in the kitchen in the refrigerator because I cook with a lot of wine too.
Yeah, no, I'm once in a great. It's been a year or two.
They call this wine Cabanero because it is Cabernet with habanero pepper in it.
And that's to taste, right? That's you. I'm going
because
you.
I like flavors.
But
it's
Dustin
great with the steak, man. It is amazing.
Dustin will walk by with a bag of fucking hot Cheetos. He's like, "You want some?" No, I don't.
You're
Go enjoy
sissy,
yourself.
Man. You ruin your coffee by putting cream and sugar in it.
You think I ruined my coffee? I think it's great. It's high test Folgers. It's still pretty strong, but to each his own. No.
I'm gonna send you. Do you have a coffee grinder?
No, I have a bun.
I'm gonna send you a thing of coffee in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Death Wish Coffee.
I've heard of it. I've never had it, but I've never heard of or never tried it. I'm a Folgers guy. Always have been. I know, it's fine. It'll calm down. Relax. Breathe through your nose. It's okay. Cray. See, even Ed thinks you're a nut.
Have you ever had a Bloody Mary, Kevin?
No.
Never had a Bloody Mary?
No, I'm not one for mixed drinks. I
used to go when I lived in New Orleans. I used to go when I worked in the bars.
Yeah.
We would close the bar and we would go and play nickel slots from like 3 a.m. until the sun came up, and then we'd have free breakfast.
Oh yeah.
We'd have free breakfast at the at the casino, and then go home and sleep because we were, so not only that, but we had our days and nights reversed.
Yeah.
So, the girls, the waitresses at the casino would come because they know like all the bar crew would all come and we'd hang out in the same sort of area in the casino every night, and they would bring us our drinks because it's free drinks in the casino, right? And they would bring me these kick-ass Bloody Marys, and Bloody Mary is a mixed drink that you have to have spicy.
Okay.
So, especially if you're in New Orleans, it's going to be a spicy.
Not for me.
You're a sissy.
Well, that's fine.
I'm going to get you a tutu.
I put pepper in V8. I'm pretty brave, you know, just a little. That's about as hot as I get.
Like black pepper?
No, we're just regular table pepper.
That's black pepper.
Yeah, I don't get too fancy. I went to Chipotle and the guy I was with, he's like, yeah, it's not really that hot, whatever the chicken was. And I was like crying and sweating and he's just laughing at me. And I'm like, dude, this is too fucking hot for me. He's like, this is mild. This is fucking too hot for me. I don't like it.
Híjole.
Calm down.
Man, there used to be a company. There used to be a company that no, if you want a ghost pepper is a sissy pepper, you want the Carolina Reaper, Raj.
No, I don't.
No, Raj. Raj is talking about
Raj
ghost
don't
peppers.
either.
Ghost peppers are sissy compared to the Carolina Reaper. That one causes blisters on your tongue right there.
What? Since you're an expert, a neighbor across the way, this is 100 years ago, he was barbecuing a pepper.
Yeah.
Or peppers. They were hot. I don't remember what they were. And he's like, you got to try it.
Well, you roast.
Like, okay, I'll try it.
I mean, when you're cooking with peppers, bell peppers, poblano peppers in general, have a skin. So you roast them on the grill to cook that skin off so that you can peel the skin off to get to the meat of the pepper. Heat. Right.
Well, whatever he had.
You want to get rid of that waxy covering that's on, the skin. You want to get rid of that when you're cooking with peppers.
Whatever it was on my tongue for days. Oh my God, that was hot.
Whatever it was probably like a poblano pepper. It's probably.
I don't know. But
banana
never
pepper.
Do that again. I don't know, but it was fucking just not good.
Now, as you get older, this is. I can bring you the science on this. As you get older, your taste buds start to diminish.
Yeah.
So people with Alzheimer's and dementia, for example, they have to boost their food so that they can actually taste it.
Mm-hmm.
So they make the food extra sweet for the diabetic, or not the dementia patients. They make it extra spicy so that they can taste stuff. Mm-hmm. So in the dementia units, the cooks will come out with like hot sauces and extra spices and things that they can, sprinkle on the food for the dementia patients, because otherwise they won't eat it. They'll take a bite of it and they'll be like, and then they sprinkle it with extra sugar, and then the next thing you know, they're
I'm going to keep that in mind for Janice, because she's starting to not like anything. Yeah. That might be
boost the flavor.
Well,
boost it
because of the no salt thing. It's been so long that she doesn't even reach for it anymore. And she's not out of her mind by any means.
Yeah.
But
no.
She's
I have
trained herself.
I have patients that have like 20 different Mrs. Dashes.
Yeah.
That they take to the dining room because they can't have salt. And Mrs. Dash comes in like a variety of different assortments.
I think I'm going to shop tomorrow for that. I'm going to mention that to her. Interesting. I didn't realize that. It's something else I didn't know. See, we're also informative. We're not just idiots. We're not just.
Well, I mean, we have some old guys in the chat room. I mean, obviously, Costello's pretty old, and Raj is not pretty old, but Tom is pretty old. And our other friend Thunder from Down Under, if he shows up and watches the replay, he's going to learn something.
He's like 105, I think.
I know, right?
Right. I love Bruni. I love that man. Almost as much as Skip. He took off on us, I think.
I love Troop, except that Troop stopped sending me my favorite e-liquid. So
I love Troop too. I love all of you.
I haven't.
Except Patrick.
I'm all out of candied Cavendish now.
Mm-mm-mm.
And my flavor company has not sent me Cavendish so that I can experiment with it. So
I think we were pretty productive this evening, sir.
I think we were. We had some fun. We showed some, we showed that we're not just basement dwelling incels, that we're.
Yeah. Don't forget to congratulate Dr. Mendelsohn. Don't forget to retweet Skip and be kind to each other.
That's important.
Except me. I don't care. You can whoop on me. I don't care.
Be kind to Skip. For sure, because,
You got it right. You got it right. Look at that. I don't care
nice
what her name is.
Once.
Her name is Skip. I don't give a shit what she says to me.
Her name is Kim, man.
I'll never call her that.
Casello says he's too old to live in the basement. It's not that he's too old to live in the basement. It's just that once he gets down there, he can't get back up the stairs.
Well, knowing that Ed can't get it back up, then there are elevators and stuff you can install though.
Yeah, you should. You should, Troop.
What? Just tell him it's in the mail, Troop, like he's told others.
I actually sent.
Did you?
Stuff to Leanna.
Was it Leanna? I thought it was Jennifer, but all right.
No, Jennifer. I'm not sending shit to Jennifer. Jennifer charged me money to send stuff to me. Until she sends me money to send stuff to her, I'm not sending it. I'm not doing it.
Oh. And you had something for Phil, didn't you?
No. Phil doesn't like tobaccos. Now I might send some tobaccos to my friend Addy Tooney because he likes tobaccos.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to send stuff that I know that people aren't going to like.
I'm using just whatever I was taught to make, and that's all I know. And I do still have a little of Troops, and I still have almost full Castle Long.
Oh, I have like 6 bottles of Castle Long Reserve. I did have to shame Jay until
something about a plume. Change the conversation. Look at that.
I've vaped all of the. I have maybe just a tiny bit of banana pudding in this.
I don't have them here. I have them in my fridge.
But yeah. But anyway, 10-year anniversary bottles coming of Castle Long Reserve. I better. He better. Just saying, he owes me money. He better. But anyway, we love you guys. Kevin's got to help an old man move a tub tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
So he's probably got to rest up and make sure you wear your back brace, old man. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I take aspirin before, just in case.
Now Skip is down there. Skip's at work at the group home, and she's stolen one of the residents' banana puddings. She says, "I'm eating banana pudding right now."
She stole it.
The nurses and the CNAs always do that. I watch them walking through after the meal service. They're walking down the hallway eating food, and I'm like, "You stole that from the coma patient."
Getting waste. I stole it.
You stole that from the coma patient.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But yeah, I'm gonna take my earbuds out because my ears are hurting, and I'm gonna chill out for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go to bed. We had a cancer scare this week, so I'm quite happy. My wife had a mammogram, and this is modern medicine. This is how these fuckers act. And I work in modern medicine, so I understand. So my wife has a mammogram. The next day she has to go to work. Now she cannot take her phone onto the floor where she works because it's a telemetry floor. They have electronics, and supposedly an active cell phone could cause problems. So they're not allowed to have their cell phones.
Yep.
So during the day while she's working, the doctor's office calls and leaves a message on her phone saying, you need to call the doctor ASAP. Wow. Then immediately after that, the radiology people call and leave 16 messages on my wife's phone. This is such and such from Radiology Associates. We're calling to schedule you for a procedure that your doctor ordered, blah, blah, blah. Nobody tells, like, my wife has no idea what the fuck is going on. Like, she just suddenly has like 20 messages on her cell phone. So the next day, like, she keeps walking off the floor trying to get a hold of the doctor's office to figure out what's going on. Nobody at the doctor's office is returning her calls. So that whole day, she's hyper stressed.
Yeah. Wow.
So the next day, she finally gets a hold of them and they're like, hey, we saw something. We want you to have a biopsy, you know, blah, blah, blah. So she went on. I took the day off of work to take her for this. It's a needle biopsy. They jab a needle into your boobie and take out. They took out multiple samples, and then they called her the next day, the radiology people, and they're like, your tests are negative, you're good, it's benign, blah, blah, blah. So
16 times.
So then the day after today, the doctor's office calls and says, oh, you need to come in for a consultation about the results from your thing. And my wife's like, I already know it's benign. But the doctor's office now has to charge for an office visit to tell her something that the radiologist already told, you know, that she's good, that she doesn't need to come back for a year. But it was just all of that stress, like 2 full days of scare. You know, women. That
ain't funny. That's not even
cool.
Close to funny. No fucking way.
And the fact that they ordered the thing, they ordered the exam without talking to her so that she could be prepared. So that she had like 16 phone calls from the radiology people saying, you know, we need you to come in for this needle biopsy thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That gives me flashbacks with James.
These assholes have no idea how scary this stuff is.
Especially with non-answers.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to leave in the message. They don't want to leave any detail in the message.
I just can't stand them.
Instead of just saying, hey, we saw something that gives us a little bit of concern and we've ordered a needle biopsy to be done, call and arrange to see, you know, they could have left that minuscule amount of detail on her. You know, it's not a HIPAA violation because they're calling her direct number. So that's not a HIPAA violation.
Right.
But yeah. Anywho, thank God that it's, you know.
Yes, sir.
I did joke with her. I said, well, if you have to have a mastectomy, you can get replacements that are bigger.
Didn't work out, did it?
maybe a D cup, you know. She punched me.
Good. I hope she punches you again. Just for fun.
Now she says I'm not allowed to touch her boobie because it's
good.
Sore. They made her put an ice pack on it. She's walking around with an ice pack on her boobie. But anyway,
she probably hates you as much as I do.
If she actually watched the show and found out I was talking about this, she would.
You wouldn't be back, would you?
She doesn't.
I'm gonna need your passwords for this show. Though.
She would not appreciate that I shared our scare with you. But anyway, we love you. We're gonna see you in 7 days. Let's have some fun on Twitter, though. Like I said, I tweeted I tweeted that little clip this week. Today
We
I
have
tweeted that
nothing.
tweet.
I'm going to repeat something we haven't said in a long time. We have literally nothing to lose by giving these people shit. None.
No,
be respectful if you want to be. If you're going to cuss, I guess, but try to show science.
just realize that you're going to be called a basement dweller if you the more successful your tweets are, the more attacky the responses are going to be from our enemies.
Right.
So don't take it personal.
Nope.
I'm quite proud of being the fact that this asshole can't refute our science, can't refute the information, can't refute the facts. So he has to call us names.
Yep. Twitterati.
Yep. But
Good night, kids.
we'll see you in 7 days. Have a good one. Let's see. Let's go out tonight with we haven't done this one for a while. We're gonna do the declaration. Love you. See ya. Bye.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new gods for their future security.